The NPL Victoria podcast is brought to you by Melville Bodyworks, located at 106 Melville Road, Brunswick West. For best-in-class panel beating and smash repairs and seamless support for insurance claims, call now on 8378 5555.
Forrester whips it in. It's a great ball in Bidwa! He's done it!
Alexander indirect all the way in! Incredible!
Mankiewicz battling for it. Schroen! Marcus Schroen has done it again!
And it's a good header away to save the net. Oh, wow! Welcome back, NPL!
Comes out with the ball. Berishevic to strike!
Oh, Charlie! Boom!
You could whack a frame on it. It was just art.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't adjust your sets. Don't refresh your YouTube. You are really seeing all four. I think this is a world first. All four members of the NPL Victoria podcast live and in the flesh together. And it's not, we've got two separate cameras. Look, I'll prove it. There's my hand on Nick's shoulder. This is the real deal. We are reunited.
We're all very sophisticated green screen.
We are reunited and it feels so good. And by golly goodness, it is a good week for us all to be reunited in the one place because we've got a lot to talk about. And again, to prove that it's real, it's not digital, here's my wallet. This is, a card that you would put in your wallet. I won't show you the back because then I'll get scammed. But a wallet like this, again, I'll prove that we're in person. A wallet like this is a great place to put Mr. Mark Ivkovic is a great place to put a Georgies membership because the Georgies, they are up and about. They are in the top 6 and the executive premium membership is coming to a wallet near you, Mark Ivkovic. How are you feeling, my friend?
I'm feeling very confident that George Cross will not make the top 6.
Hey, this is the Donald Trump school of crisis management. Just pretend it's not happening. Just state your alternative facts.
We'll see after round 26, boys, where they end up, and then I know where it's going to end up. Outside the 6 on the final day. I'm going to put my name down to commentate George Cross South Melbourne in round 26, so I can bask in the glory of them.
Ivka, I don't like when we're too sort of self-referential in our own world on this podcast. But I've genuinely. This is my first week back around the grounds in NPL Victoria for quite some time. Nick DeBano and Josh Parrish are here, by the way. They're also in the flesh,
also present.
Their wallets are there too, but one less card lighter. Not because I stole from them. The level that comes later. The level of chatter around the grounds. I've been to multiple NPL Victoria grounds. I've made use of my time down here in Melbourne. Multiple venues I've been to, and multiple people have said, I cannot wait for Ivka to have that premium membership. And I just want to put a message out to Mark Sultana, the top brass out at Caroline Springs, George Cross. We do know there's still plenty left to play in this season, but any club executive worth their salt starts planning ahead. Let's start planning ahead. When Mark Ivkovic has to come in and buy the membership, what are we going to do? Can we get Christian Siciliano? Can we print a Siciliano 1 Georgies jersey for Mark Ivkovic and have it presented by the great man?
Should it be Ivkovic 1? Should it be
Ivkovic 1 presented by Christian Siciliano.
It'd be the George Kalambaris of George Cross.
An Alex Saniel jersey. It's all on the table. But we'll do a long lunch. We will do a long lunch when Ivka buys his membership, and he'll sit at the head of the table. We'll be there. We'll bring the cameras, and the entire George Cross senior side can just sit alongside and watch Mark Ivkovic eat humble pie for 2 straight hours. Get in touch. We've got plenty of big ideas.
Can I just say, when this first came into existence, when you said a few weeks ago that you would buy a membership, we had the man himself, the man who scored the winning goal on Saturday night, the man who you said wasn't going to play for Georgies this season, Michael Zatsidas, say he's going to do everything he can to make sure you're buying that membership.
That's all right.
So I'm sure he'll be loving this.
2 games to go. They still need to get another win at least to make it, and it's not going to happen. I'm staying strong.
We were actively talking about those ideas, Lachie. I thought they were under wraps. We were workshopping
those
ideas.
They're out and about because I believe in the spirit of collaboration. On an Insular podcast, we like ideas from the outside where we listen to our listeners and Caroline Springs George Cross people, think about the best way you can ingratiate a new member of your family into the fraternity. You know,
Either
we
way,
want-
whatever happens in the next 2 weeks, the content is going to be fantastic. whatever happens.
I don't like. We didn't go to the grounds and bring it up.
No.
Other people came to us and said, "I
Yes.
cannot wait to see this happen."
And tell me, what if they don't make it? Like, Ivka's going to be walking into the studio with smoke machines.
Oh yeah,
and
but I'll be
cowboy
back.
that's what I'm
hats.
saying.
I'll be
Yeah.
back in Sydney by then, so it doesn't matter. I don't have to wear any responsibility
Like
for
I
that.
said, I'm putting my name down. Round 26, George Cross versus South Melbourne. I'll be there. And when Heidelberg beat Bentley on the final day and George Cross lose to South Melbourne and they don't make it, I'll bring out the party hat.
So that's at Fraser Rise,
Yeah.
right? So will you go in that day if full time sounds and Caroline Springs George Cross are in the 6? Will you go into Georgies on Vista
I'll buy it
that
on the
day
spot.
and buy the
Can I
membership?
just say, there is actually a possibility that
We're gonna have to get the
stream
stream extended so we can shoot Ivkovic walking
before
in.
that game. It could be wrapped up.
Could be wrapped
You
up this
could
week.
be walking in there and buying your membership before the game, because if Georgies win and Heidelberg lose, and which, I mean, given their current form, that is very possible. Dandy City don't win as well, and Melbourne City don't win their game in hand tomorrow night against Preston. I mean, everyone might know by now exactly how that game's going to go. Georgies could be inside the top 6 on that final day if they do the business against you.
What a shame they'll lose 5-0 on Saturday to him.
Right, no, I'm holding that to you. That's one of your tips for this weekend. That is saved away
sir, that's
because
lock it in.
not a
Lock
good
it
weekend
in.
for the tips. Nick, a quick word, and Josh from the two of you. How are you doing after the weekend that was?
Oh, mate, what a weekend. So much excitement. I know you had a great Saturday. Both of you had a great Saturday afternoon.
Mark Ivkovic had a great commute home as well.
Could have been better in some respects, but
Get to that
I
soon.
still had fun.
But, you know, you guys had great Saturdays. I had a great weekend. You know, it's been an interesting week, which we'll get to a little bit later. But, you know, we had fun last night at the Venator Club.
Sure did.
It was one of the games of the VPL1 season. It was Triple M footy style commentary. We got a new
Arguably
nickname.
too much fun.
Oh, wow, mate, we had a lot.
I mean, when I'm making car noises when someone's running down the wing, we are definitely having
exactly,
too much fun.
we've coined new nicknames. We've come up with a whole lot. I mean, it's been a good couple of days.
Josh,
I don't know what else I can add other than asking Mr. Ivkovic over there, like when you attend your first Georgies in business function, who are you hoping as your guest speaker?
Michael Mifsud.
Maybe Bradley C. Stubbs, the coach whisperer?
The real Alex Samuel, not his cousin.
well, shall we actually get in? Let's get into the reason we are talking about the prospect of Caroline Springs George Cross making the finals. We're going to start with them because it was a seesawing when what was in 2/3 a Super Saturday of NPL Victoria on Saturday. A seesawing 3-2 victory for Caroline Springs George Cross against Avondale. Plenty to dissect from the game. Avondale sort of made a late charge, but it ultimately wasn't enough. And there's no other person I want to hear the thoughts of on the match than the man who was paying attention to it while stuck in traffic on the way back from Casey. Mark, what did you make of the game? And was it a well-earned 3 points for the top 6 contenders?
Well, I'll give them the respect that they deserve for that game. They actually dominated Avondale, I thought, throughout that whole game. Avondale were never really in it. I thought when they took the lead, Georgies, obviously I was cursing a little bit. And then when Avondale equalised, you thought, okay, you know, the wind's taken out of their sail and Avondale should run away with it. But virtually, 5 minutes later, the Pope scores. And they just carried on with it, Georgies. I thought it was a really impressive performance, wondering where those type of performances have been consistently throughout the year. But at City Vista, they're actually pretty good. It's where when they play away, they struggle a little bit, but I thought they deserved the 3 points definitely on Saturday. Crucial 3 points. And Avondale, yet again, failing to beat a top 6 side. Now that they're in the top 6, George Cross.
Well, you get to erase their victory over Heidelberg as a top 6 win as well.
Well, they did beat Georgies earlier in the year,
That's
so
true.
1 in, 1 out.
5-2 in that game,
yeah.
which Mark Ivkovic
But-
is also behind the mic for. What a contrast.
Yeah, 100%. You look at that game, which I was there for, Georgies were terrible that afternoon against Avondale. And to pick up their form the way they have, look, I genuinely think that they're not going to make it. I can't see them winning the last 2 games, but this will give that playing squad the confidence that they can go to Hume on Saturday and get a result, or on the final day against South Melbourne. You know, beating Avondale for Georgies is a great result. I was impressed by them, but Avondale, we've seen the news that's come out today. You'd say results like that is part of the reason why they're going to move Germano on, because in those type of games, they looked lost. He didn't know the right changes to make, how to get back in the game. Things weren't going well for him, and they were exposed yet again in a big game.
I was going to say, we'll return to that point, Ivka, but I was going to say, are we underrating the potential gold medal case of Leo Marzi? That's what I was thinking.
He's been so
when he saw that goal, I thought, another one. He's got 11. There's not really an obvious front runner for the gold medal this year. I think Joe Guest was everybody's, he's going to win it last season. Now you look at it, maybe Adisu Bayou's had a good year, but he had a bit of a dip in the middle where he's injured and wasn't playing as much and didn't play as well. And there's also other players on Hume who'll take votes off him. Leo Marzi has been the match winner so many times for George Cross. I feel like he will have polled really well in those games. And he might have 3 votes 11 times. Probably, maybe not in this game, because Michael Sitsides, I thought, was incredible. And
goal and assist. Jack Pope.
Jack Pope was incredible as well. So there were other contenders this time, but Leo Marzi, maybe the signing of the season, underrated.
He'd be up there.
And I have to hold my hands up, and I've sort of said similar to this effect earlier in the podcast, but I didn't. We're not afraid to admit when we're wrong, and I didn't think that Leo Marzi had this in him necessarily in NPL Victoria. Like he certainly didn't set the world alight at Heidelberg. He obviously was injured when he was at Melbourne Knights, so never really got the chance to show his best. And then I saw him play in fits and starts at Sutherland as well, and again wasn't really a player who stood out as someone who, unlike say Nick Olsen, who was okay at Heidelberg, but then became a star back in New South Wales. He didn't look as though he was a player who necessarily had the capacity to do that. But then
he's had 5 clubs in 4 years.
Well, yeah, but I guess at the same time that kind of makes him the perfect talismanic player for George Cross, because what are George Cross if not a team of whom we've not expected a great deal?
A collection of misfit toys.
And they've found ways to exceed our expectations.
They do have a few of those players. I mean, Yagub Mustafa's played for a few different clubs over the last few years. Jack Pope, obviously a mid-season signing. Nick Dibb as well, another player that has played for quite a few clubs over the last few years. So they've brought a few of these players together and been able to get the most out of them. I think one of the stats that really stand out to me when you look at it, 23 shots to 6 in Avondale's favour, 70% of the ball. But you look at the shot map, majority of those shots are coming from outside the box. So Georgies weren't really tested all that much. That just goes to show how organised they have been defensively this year. And that sort of stuff stands up at this stage of the year. And I mean, as you said, Ivka, they looked lost going forward, Avondale. And you'd think with all that talent that they still have on the field, that really they should be able to pick their way through this team, despite Georgies, how organised they are. They've got so much ability throughout that midfield and attack that they really, if they want to be winning the league this year, these are the games they need to be winning.
Yeah, again, credit to Vasiliadis.
Absolutely.
I wasn't taking the piss when I said he should be coach of the year. Marzi's perfect example. No one's been able to get the best out of him. Vasiliadis has. A lot of those players, most of that defence have played in relegated teams before. And, they've been so defensively strong, so organised. Again, just credit to his coaching abilities to get the absolute maximum out of this squad.
Yeah. Again, I was supremely impressed by Jack Pope. It didn't take much for South Melbourne fans to start saying, we'll get him back for the OFC Pro League, get him back for the championship. On the Avondale perspective, obviously not a game where they performed as well as they probably should have. And hasn't been confirmed yet by the club, but the mail from our man. Well, there you go. That's as good as done. He doesn't get too many wrong. Is that Jonathan Germano after his first season as Avondale head coach is probably going to be out the door. What do you make? You're the man who reported the news, Mark Ivkovic. What are your
one of the men?
Yeah,
unless Ivkovic is running another burner account.
This is true. Look, and this does not happen often. We had the whispers of something like this maybe being on the wind before Mark Ivkovic tweeted, and it is very rare that does happen. But Ivka, what do you actually make of the decision? Because we were kind of talking about it before we started recording, and Avondale are a very, I guess, demanding club. They're used to success, used to results. It's not been a bad season, and funnily enough, it's been a season that's exceeded some of our expectations. But when you actually look at the quality of the squad on paper, maybe you could make the argument that it is a team that is underachieving. I mean, they've lost in the league, nine games this year.
Yeah, and got knocked out of the Australia Cup to North Sunshine, which would be burning.
Hey, that's a very honourable loss, the way things are going at the
exactly.
moment.
That's
fair point, but they would be burning about that.
Yeah.
Seeing the way the draws opened up, if one club loves the national stage, it's Avondale, because it gives them that exposure that they usually don't get on a weekly basis. Look, I think the concern for them after doing a bit of a review would have been the results that we've spoken about all year. When they come up against a very good team in this league, they're just not in the game. They don't look like they're in the game, and they get tactically outsmarted, and that's where the question marks would have come from. And they would have had those concerns when they gave Gamano the job, and that's their decision for giving him the job in the first place. But they would have looked at that and thought, you know what, he's doing an okay job, but he's not going to take us to where we want to get to.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit like, I guess, reductive, Josh, kind of way of looking at it necessarily, but and it's easy to get swayed by the on-paper quality. Sometimes the reality doesn't match up with the theory, but you look at the team that took the field on Saturday, and there's 5 players in the starting 11 who have played full-time professional football before. There'd be over 400, I would say, or at least over 300 for sure, A-League appearances in that squad, which my guess would be is more than Hume, is more than Oakley, is more than the vast majority of teams in the top 6. Like, you give a first-year coach a bit of leeway, but it's not a bad team.
A lot of change, though. A lot of turnover.
True.
I was expecting Avondale to hit their straps probably at this point. They haven't. So maybe there hasn't been enough improvement over the course, because they started so badly. Let's remember how badly they started the year, and we thought Jemina was toast after 3 games, and then they turned it around.
Are you surprised he's not at least getting the championship, or do a team like Avondale looking
I'm surprised this news has come out now, but let's think about the potential coaching market. The merry-go-round.
Hasn't it hotted up over the last
There's a
few
lot
weeks?
of rumours flying around out there. I mean, Johnny A, is he staying at Heidelberg? If he's not, he's the biggest, potential free agent. If
the decision.
Exactly. He needs we need a TV special.
What venue? You can comment this in the YouTube comments or on the Spotify comments. What venue will John Anastasiadis do his decision at?
And taking his talents to Lakeside, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, LeBron James said taking his talents to South Beach. I mean, if the rumours are true, taking talents to South somethings. So, South Melbourne, apparently.
I'm taking my talents to Middle Park Beach. Wait, are you head coach of Port Melbourne? What's going on?
That'd be a curveball for sure. And if that does come to pass, the much rumoured move, potentially Sinisa Kahadzic is the hottest coaching free agent in the comp. So there potentially are bigger names and more established candidates out there than Jemina, who had no track record when he was appointed. He has no credits in the bank, really, because they got eliminated by an NPL Queensland side in the Australian Championship, which they'd be disappointed by. If they'd made a semi-final, maybe a different story.
That sort of was
so he doesn't have credits in the bank from his previous jobs. He's got, obviously, a reputation as a player and a reputation as a player at Avondale. But I don't know whether he has the credits in the bank to keep that job, given that they have struggled against the other teams in the top 6 in big games. And the last point is, he doesn't know what his best 11 is. We've argued about it all season. Is it Ott and Fornaroli together? Is it 3 in midfield? Is it my oft-repeated idea of a 3-5-2 that's never been tried, it seems like? They haven't found a balance. They haven't found a tried and tested weekly 11 that is your first choice in a big game. It's always chopping and changing. Is it a 3-man midfield with Mukachar? That's not going well. You bring him off. You bring George Ott off the bench. I don't know. It just hasn't quite clicked. They've been good in certain games, but often it's been against lower quality opposition at home where they've steamrolled teams with their individual quality, as opposed to it being more than the sum of their parts.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what they do in that coaching market, whether they do it before the championship, because you look at the inability to get results against the big teams. We don't know who they're going to draw in the group stage, but if they want to go deep, which they will, they want to improve on last year, they're going to be playing big teams. They're going to be playing good teams, and that it's a squad that is capable for sure of getting more than it currently is, and it could, if the rumours are to be believed. But who knows? Honestly, the way things are going right now, who knows? It could be someone like John Anastasiadis who's in the frame. John Anastasiadis, Nick, who was involved in one of the games of the season. So I'm told. I was busy commentating the Titans of Melbourne City against the immovable object and unstoppable force of South Melbourne at Casey Fields. A 5-4 win for Hume City. Heidelberg having led this game 3-1. And we've spoken a lot about what's going on at Heidelberg. It's 9 games winless in the league now. All the conjecture around the squad, around John Anastasiadis' future. And just when you think it couldn't find a way to get slightly more heartbreaking, there it is, a winner in the 86th minute for
This
you.
has just been the week of just like heartbreak on heartbreak. It can't get any worse. It can, Mick McCarthy style for Heidelberg during this period. I mean, you look at it, lose the cup final against Preston, play North Sunshine in the cup, you go down to 10, you have a bucket load of chances where you really should have won the game in 90 against North Sunshine with the penalty save and the follow-up. And, I mean, taking that away from Rory Bryan, it was a great save, but the follow-up and the missed opportunity from Duarte and then losing on penalties against North Sunshine. And now you find another way to lose a game. And this is in the position that Heidelberg haven't found themselves in all too often over the last couple of months. They were up by 2 goals in the second half. I mean, they led this game multiple times and found a way still to lose. I mean, it was incredible to see it unravel for them in the second half because, you know, they got that goal early through Jay McGowan, a player who certainly needed something like that to get himself going. You know, they concede, they ship one. Godfrey DeBelle getting a goal back. I mean, again, this is something we'll talk about throughout the way they conceded their goals. Just very, very slack defending, allowing players to ghost in. And it was mostly apparent in the 2 goals they conceded from set pieces at the end where both Taylor Shrivers and Adisu Bayu were able to get free. But going 3-1 up at the start of the second half, you thought, all right, here we go. You know, a nicely worked goal, you know, for Max Bacettos, and Yokokawa's finish was tremendous. A beautiful finish over Chris Oldfield. And you're thinking at that point, the team's up and about. Finally, this is like the weight off the shoulders we've been talking about. You know, needing that moment to really kick on and galvanise. You know, the players are getting around each other. The coaching staff are getting around each other. They look excited.
Getting around each other. It was the making out with each other when they scored the 3rd goal.
So they're up and about. There's 33 minutes to go. They're at home. They have a great chance to get a win over a team that's above them. And they concede straight from kickoff, you know. And even then, you know, you're still up 3-2. Okay, let's kick on. Let's keep going. And then you find yourself at 3-3. Then you get another chance and you're ahead from the penalty spot from Kieran Bramwell. And 3 minutes later, it's level. Like, it's time and time again. And this was, I think, you know, what we've spoken about through this year for Heidelberg has been their lack of scoring going forward. But this time, it's the one area where perhaps they've still been kind of strong this year, is that even in this run, they haven't conceded a lot of goals. They conceded 5. 5 against Hume. Like that, I think, despite the loss and everything and being up and all that, but conceding 5 goals, even with Ben Collins missing.
Well, I was going to say, even the great Heidelberg apologist of the podcast, like Ben Collins is an absence, but it's not like when you've got Tasmore Dakudis and Ryan Lefling together.
Yeah.
That's not a poor, like, low level replacement.
But
partnership.
it's the manner in how they conceded their goals. I mean, Johnny A that would be killing him, seeing the way that they conceded those goals. I mean, like, the manner in players getting free from those set pieces, and it's something that we never saw from Heidelberg for even throughout this season, is the manner in how they've copped those goals. So they just find new ways to lose at the moment. And mentally, Josh, I'm sure you'll build off this, we spoke about last week, they look mentally shot at the moment.
Yeah, we've spoken a lot about the physical toll that last season took on them. But if you look at the moment this season went from pretty good to very, very bad, it was when it was finally confirmed that they were missing out on Asia. That was the carrot that was dangling in front of the players. And once that verdict came in, it seemed like they'd been promised a lot. And, you know, that was the only way to one up last season because you've been on this amazing grand adventure. And then there's this, you know, maybe one more, you know, hill to climb, one more mountain to climb, one more thing to achieve. And that gets taken away from you, which honestly, from the outside, you could tell that was going to happen if you read the AFC regulations. But probably on the interior of the club, there was probably, you know, a lot of optimism that was going to get up. And I feel like that's just pulled the rug out from underneath them, and they haven't been able to right themselves mentally after that. You know, because that was what was keeping them going.
Yeah, but that's a cop out, really. Like I agree with your
100%
point.
That's a cop out. But
they
need a sports psychologist in there at this point. Every time something starts to go wrong, it just spirals now.
And the tiredness is a cop out as well. Oh, they're tired. They played so many games. Oh, South Melbourne's played a lot of fucking games this year.
To be fair, South
Preston's
Melbourne have
played a lot
used
of
50
games.
players this season. To be
Still.
fair, it's a bit of a different kettle.
I don't think Heidelberg's budget is as high this year either. I don't think their squad is as deep.
I don't think they're spending peanuts either. I've seen those comments from their supporters that, you know, we can't compete with the budget.
Well, hang on, Ivka. Let's not forget here. You're the person who needs Heidelberg to pull their socks up
So
in the
you're
next
giving them an
in
all-time
the next 2
rev
weeks.
up.
You're giving them a bake. Sell
No.
me
Someone
the
else
dream.
Someone else is going to make the six. We'll get to that.
Sell me the Heidelberg dream in the next 2 weeks. How can they find a way to do it and knock Georgies back out of the final?
I don't think it's a dream. It's a bloody nightmare. I don't know how you recover from that 5-4 result, really. Is that you could see how much emotion was involved in that game.
That was the one. This was the one they really needed.
I think Wednesday against North Sunshine really would have stung them. They would have thought, okay, you know, we've been all right in the cup. We can overcome North Sunshine. And really, they should have in that game. They dominated North Sunshine, but didn't get the job done. And then you could see with the celebrations and the hugging and kissing and Sousa running up after every bloody goal and telling them to calm down and we've got this, and then cop a goal 30 seconds later. There was too much emotion in it, and they would be absolutely stuffed after that. That's the final blow to them. I don't know how they get up for Sunday against South Melbourne. Look, they do have Bentley on the final day. So you would think with their record against second division teams this year, Heidelberg, they've been pretty good in the cup. So Bentley now being a second division team, they should be able to beat them on the final day. And that might be enough. But
technically, if Bentley could score enough goals, they could overtake
they still might be alive. You never know.
It's only 6 points.
I just stick to my point about Heidelberg, that they're just not good enough. The players there that have come in aren't good enough. I don't buy into the tiredness. I don't buy into the fatigue. There's other teams that have played a lot of games this year and are flying. So, I think they just need to have a big off season in recruiting, and by the sounds of it, with a new coach.
Yeah, well, how do they lift themselves for the South Melbourne game? Well, listening to this from the sound.
They've had 9 weeks of, not 9 weeks of getting hammered, maybe 3 or 4 weeks, and it hasn't really lifted them.
Well, I think the way they lift themselves for the South Melbourne game is Sinisha making 11 changes to rest players for Preston on the Wednesday.
There is that. There is that factor. Just look.
I think South Melbourne would. Well, I'm not going to say South Melbourne are going to throw a game. That's too much. But it would benefit South Melbourne if Preston missed the finals.
Yes, of course.
They would rather face Heidelberg in the finals than Preston.
Correct.
Or they would rather Preston be out of the picture. So is it really that important for them to win on Sunday when they've got a big game?
Get in the top two. They could still get lock in a home final. That's still...
When you got Preston in the cup on Wednesday, there's really no incentive for them to... I think there's a massive incentive for them to rest players and not care too much about the outcome.
To be fair, though, even if South did rotate a few players and kept a few on ice at Preston, they've still got a very good team.
That's probably what they'll think. They'll think, we can probably beat them with our second 11 at the moment.
Yeah, well, to be fair, if they decide to rest Bourgeois, you saw Geordie Swivel there. You know, you decide to make a few changes around the edges and you bring a few extra in. They've got a very, very strong and deep squad. Look,
let's not rehash what happened to the last South Melbourne coach to rest players for a Preston game. But.
Well, yeah, I mean that would be that would still be ringing in the back of their minds.
It's quite funny calling the game on the weekend and calling the Fremantle City game for South a few weeks ago. You actually that era to which you're referring kind of drifts into the back of your mind until you see the occasional, especially now that Max Mikkel is injured, see the occasional Jack Painter Andrews long throw, and then you get a Vietnam style flashback. Oh God, that's what it was like. That's what it was like.
Yeah.
But those times.
I think we should also give credit to Hume for coming back, especially 3-1 down. Not easy. despite the form that Heidelberg's in, they would have thought, we're faltering here as well. They've still got a lot to play for, Hume, to finish second. So that's a massive result for them.
Well, you look at how things were tracking before that Melbourne City win, where they just scraped over the line against a City team that have started to, put a few of those scholarship players up to the A-League team. They were playing in the Australia Cup. They got that win. But before that, things were not looking good. I mean, that 3-2 loss against St Albans, I think we're all thinking, oh no, is this potentially where the dip is? But the way they've been able to turn things around, like in these last couple of games, getting that win against Melbourne City was so important. But time and again, they probably thought to themselves as well, even though they're down, if we get one back, we're a real chance, because this is a Heidelberg team that might be a bit low on confidence. If we really get at them, we might be able to pull something off. And I think credit to Nick Hegarty and the players for the manner in how they responded in the second half. Time and again, going behind, 3 times behind in the game, and they still were able to pull it out of the fire and win. And, we've spoken about, losing Aaron Calver defensively, how they're going to be able to fill those gaps. Yes, they still shipped 4. But you know what? I think when you look at it back the other way going forward, to score 5, that would give them a lot of confidence. And all 4 of those front 4 all hitting the scoreboard or having a role in them. Engelhardt an assist, Debele, Curter and Adisu Bayu as well, getting a goal too, and Max Wright an assist off the bench. I think that they would be so pleased in the matter that they just got that all-important win and have put themselves in a good position now to lock in top 2.
Well, ironically, considering what happened in the North Sunshine Cup game, I mean, Heidelberg have lost their bottle. But sorry, there was one. It feels unkind to single out any Heidelberg player because there were so many players at fault in this game. But I did remember your comment after the Doherty Cup final, Ivka, of why didn't they play Anthony Theo at left back instead of Ryan Lethlean? Well, if you saw Anthony Theo's pathetic effort to contest the ball at the back post for the winning goal at 5-4, I think you got your answer there.
Yeah, I think that's the least of their problems in that game against
100%. But
Souza again, though, you can see he's nowhere near ready to play. There's probably 2 goals there that they were very, very soft goals for Souza to concede. Why continue with the experiment? It's obvious that he's not ready.
Because he can sprint up to the players when they score and give them a good morale boost so they can concede 30 seconds later off kickoff.
I have to say, when that penalty incident did happen, and shout out to Osman Sulla, by the way, who sent me the photos of him protecting the water bottle with his life. He would have whacked someone with his camera to try and keep that water bottle safe.
Do you want to explain for people who didn't watch that?
Yes, okay. For people who didn't watch North Sunshine 0, Heidelberg United 0 in the Australia Cup, North Sunshine winning on penalties. What were you doing last Wednesday? But basically, Rory Bryan had a water bottle with penalty instructions on it that he was handed during the interval. Rory Bryan put it behind the goal before the start of the shootout, and Souza, who, in a way that I respect, does have a track record for being a bit of a yes when it comes to penalties. It happened in the 2024 Cup against Oakley as well. There was a few delay tactics going on. He saw the bottle behind the goal, scooped it up, ran over to the bench, and tried to get them to hide it in the coach box. Now, why at Hume? Maybe that's the shoulder injury coming to the fore. I don't know why he didn't just lob it over the fence, because it's a fence to nowhere at Nasiol Stadium.
He could probably have lobbed it onto a passing jet.
He probably could have clipped an Airbus, and it would have just been, would have gone through the turbine, and then, Rory Bryan would have had to piece all the little bits back together. He tried to hide it in the bench, and then obviously Ben Isai and Besnik Kutleshi, his assistant coach, run in there and go, "What the hell's going on?" Take the bottle. Besnik Kutleshi gets red carded, but as he's walking off the pitch, just gives the bottle back, and Rory Bryan
does the great rev up as well.
One of the all-time pump ups. You know what the best bit is, by the way? And I asked this last night at the Veneto Club. Besnik Kutleshi served his suspension in the league, so he's still going to Queensland. He is still going to Queensland, but the bottle was handed back to Rory Bryan, then given to Osman Sulla, who held on to it along with the protection of the big hard North Sunshine Ultras. So
guys, why do you not have 2 bottles? Why is there not a contingency bottle? In that case, that's
true.
I think North Sunshine have to think about that for the
2 sets of notes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or maybe they have a decoy bottle.
Yeah.
With the wrong set of instructions on it that they get the other team to take.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And really, he's got it written on a note inside his sock.
A second bottle has hit the Eagles. There you go. Just one more point on this game, Josh, from a Hume point of view, and I'm going to defer to you as our our gold medal sort of tracker man. Burke and Kurtar, that is 6 goals, 11 assists for him this season. And what piques my interest about him as a potential vote getter is that you go back and look at the games where he's contributed, so he'll be front of mind to a referee who's doing the votes. A lot of them have been in wins and draws and not so many goal contributions in losses. Is he maybe another shout potentially? I know Hume have had a few more, I guess, stars perhaps who stand out clearly as people who could take points off him.
Potentially. He's an eye-catching player. He often,
I love watching him play.
And a midfielder
he's
as well.
kind
They
of
do poll well.
Yeah, and he's a attacking, creative midfielder, and he's very silky. Referees, when they look at the game, they're in the middle of the park. So the central midfielders, players who are also the most important players on the pitch, I think, in most cases, are usually vote getters because they're so up close and personal with them. And he's got silky skills. He beats players. Even in games where he hasn't scored, he'll probably poll reasonably well. I wonder whether there's too many Hume players taking votes off each other because Odysseus Bayo is going to get a lot of votes. Debele will get some. And Chris Engelhardt will get a lot of votes as well. So
even Aaron Calver early in the year as well.
Like
probably
Heidelberg last season.
It can be a centre-backs award. We do know that.
Yeah.
There's probably too many players taking votes off each other in the Hume team.
Yeah.
But he's definitely a contender.
Can I throw up maybe one silver lining for Heidelberg? Like, but we've been very negative.
Season's nearly over.
All I want to say
One
is,
day the sun will expand and engulf us all into an untimely death. It won't be like this
haven't
forever.
thought about that since primary school, mate, when we were taught that.
Sorry to frighten you,
Yeah,
Nick.
Jesus, getting PTSD at the moment.
December 21st, 2012. We thought it'd be all over.
Oh, jeez. Anyways.
Nick's going to go shake in a corner for the rest of the
Yeah,
podcast.
mate, I remember when that day came and went, I was the happiest man alive. I was only 14. But going back to Heidelberg, I mean, the fact they scored 4 goals. Dude, is that a silver lining in any way? Because they have been failing to score goals in this amount for the entire year or for this majority of this run. The fact they scored 4 and they scored some nice goals, some nicely worked goals, does that give them any sort of confidence going forward? Because if you've got to grab at least something to hold your hat on and go, all right, yep, we lost. It's not great. We're out of the top 6. We're out of control of our own destiny at the moment. We've got to go and we've got to get back up for South Melbourne and whatever lies ahead as well with the Bentley game and if they get to finals. Is 4 goals in a game enough to really hang your hat on and be like, yep, we've got something maybe building in the attacking third?
Nick, when mine came off the bench for Preston on Sunday, did you get flashbacks to 2012 apocalypse scenarios? Mine? No. Come on.
Oh,
That really went over my head here on a Tuesday night at the Mayan calendar.
Mayan calendar
The
joke.
Mayan calendar, yeah.
For those of you who are desperately
I
trying to keep
thought
up.
you were about to make a serious point here about Heidelberg's attack, and then
I'll
you
be honest,
decided
I
to
can't
come back
stop listening.
and talk about the Mayan calendar.
And here I was thinking that my visual gag about bringing a wallet out in front of Ivka's face would be exclusive and not understood by the podcast listeners. And here is Josh referring to the
To be
Mayan
fair,
calendar
it's
from
7:54
14 years
PM
ago.
7:54 p.m. on a Tuesday night, Josh, after working all day. Everything is going over my head
Heidelberg
at the moment.
United, don't forget that in 2000, Y2K could have wiped us all out and ended civilization as we know it. But here we are playing the beautiful game.
A plane could have fallen out of the sky onto Nasiol Stadium.
It's true. We could all be dead. It could be. And nowhere was the game more beautiful this weekend than at BT Connor Reserve, where Preston Lions secured a 3-0 win against an ailing, a relegated Dandenong Thunder. It was, suffice it to say, Josh, the side story of the week for Preston in many, many respects.
I got something to say about that because I didn't feel like the Mayans who got it wrong about December 21, 2012 because I got the score correct, 3-0 Preston against Dandy Thunder, Josh. You were more like the Mayans for their prediction at December 21.
With the greatest of respect, I'm going to gloss over that, Nick. Not because it's not important, good job.
I'm getting my
I'm
receipts.
happy for you, but I would like, if you can, Josh, as perfunctory a match report as possible, because with the greatest of respect to Dandenong Thunder, we do have bigger things to talk about when it comes to Preston on the pod, and we've only got so much longer until the sun starts to expand, kill us all.
Well, the weather was very nice.
It was a nice day.
Yeah, it was a lovely day. Yeah, not much to report. A bit of a honk shoe of an afternoon at Preston.
Danny Dog Thunder playing out from the back from goal kicks. Get the fuck out of here. Seriously. I was pissing myself laughing.
I mean, why not? Why not?
What do you got to lose?
They got smashed. mate.
It took them
They're
until
going down anyway.
I'm pretty sure it took them until the 68th minute to register a shot, and they didn't register one on target. So Ryan Scott came off at halftime. Mine came on, and neither of them had a save to make in the entire game.
That's got to feel pretty bad. Like, I know you're getting relegated and going down, but it's got to feel pretty bad when a team is making substitutions you would see in a preseason friendly against you in a competitive fixture. Like that has
It
got
did
to
have
burn.
that feel about it, didn't
That
it?
has got to burn a little bit.
Preseason style game.
Yeah, I mean, it was a postseason kickabout for the Thunder. Unfortunately, it really lacked a lot of that kind of prestige that you expect out of this matchup. Not now. Lachie and Nick, what are you doing wasting your time on this team? Why didn't he leave in the transfer window? Why didn't Heidelberg manage to sign him? He would have been the perfect Heidelberg signing. He is Sabitnyor 2.0, and yeah, he's just wasting his
Don't
fucking
criticise
time.
Heidelberg's recruitment, mate. We're not allowed to do that.
It's just so sad to see him he had no shortage of suitors, so I think he must be really regretting that decision not to move on, because he could be playing for a team that's contending for silverware or Heidelberg, and and instead he's just a lonesome figure up top. I mean, Ali Soleimani's playing in central midfield. Ismaili and Mehmeti looked kind of checked out, and there's a whole bunch of kids out there who I'd never heard of before I called this game. On the Preston side of things, I mean, perfect afternoon for them. 7 changes from the team against Juve. They managed to bring off all 4 of the players who retained their places in the starting lineup, including Ryan Scott, during the second half. And Jonas Markovski, with only 1 league goal all season, scored a hat-trick. And back in the team, look, is he going to play a major role in the big games to come? Maybe not. But given that Preston have so many games, they're playing Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday. I think there's a role for everybody in this team. And Jonas Markovski getting some form and confidence is massive. I mean, his first goal, the header was really good. He was a long way out. He had no right to score from there. And the other 2 goals were really well taken. He probably could have had 5, but given he's a player who's missed a really big chunk of the middle of the season due to injury, that's a massive boost to his confidence and another option for Preston to keep chopping and changing and rotating. And last thing I'll say is that Jay Romanovsky, who is cup tied and would have been absolutely spewing to miss the Doherty Cup final and all these big Australia Cup games, was marauding down the right. He spent more time in the final third than he did defending, even though he was at right back. And he was really, really, really good. So, a positive afternoon for Preston, but really 3-0 is probably par, given the side that they were up against, and there are many bigger tests to come.
I mean, I've got one bit of positive news from a Thunder perspective. Out to Florida Keys, there's a place called Kokomo. Okay, I've tried to keep it light because we do have to now talk about something.
Just
go on.
One more thing I want to add. You had about Lachie and Nick. I mean, championship clubs have to be looking at him. Yeah. They have to be going in
Clubs
against him.
were clubs made offers to him.
No, but again, you got to be going again now. You'd think,
Yeah, but I think in that mid-season window, that is an ideal time to position yourself to join one of those championship clubs and then be in the swing of things going in. Because it's such a late window. It's basically a championship recruitment window.
Yeah.
I dare say some of those clubs will be like, bad luck, mate.
You missed
the
your
boat."
window.
Yeah.
And he hasn't really added to his goal tally or really done anything since that transfer window. So I feel like he had to strike while the iron was hot. And I mean, he's still a good player, obviously, but I just think he really should have left.
Just take nothing away from Jonas's hat-trick. Good on him. Great to see him score 3 goals. But we all know Mark Ivka scored a hat-trick against Dandenong Thunder on Sunday afternoon.
Where are you on your golden boot
I would
tally
be
at the moment?
leading the golden boot this season with all these chances that I would have scored. But come on. Good on him, Jonas.
I think John Anastasiadis is feeling similar watching the amount of, up until this week at least, chances Heidelberg have struggled to put away. Come on, mate. You would be the first Golden Boot winner to also be you would be a member of the Golden Boot Club. And, well, I think that's the Golden Boot Club is actually what they call the executive membership at Caroline Springs. The gold standard, spring in the heels, Mark Ivkovic.
Won't be the only golden boot that's taken away this year.
Well,
so
again,
it's about
we've got other, unbelievably, Nick, we've got other controversy to speak about before we get to that. The other big Preston news this week was, of course, the triggering of the second strike in this new FV 3 strikes policy, which means that Preston, Josh, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but have been this one of the suspended points deductions. No? Or take me through it then, please.
So Preston started the season with -9, and then it was appealed and it went down to -6 and 3 suspended points. I thought those were the points that were being taken away. That is not the case. That has not happened yet. There is a tribunal tonight as we record. I don't think we'll have the verdict by the end of this podcast, unfortunately, unless Ivka gets a phone call. But this is separate. So FE announced this 3-strike policy at the start of the season. It was all marketed to and advertised as a means to police dissent and abuse of referees, particularly junior referees. They wear their armband now, and it's a crisis across the state. I understand the need for it, especially at the community and junior level, given that we're struggling to recruit referees. You've got, metro games and things where a referee won't turn up. They don't have one, and you've got to get like a volunteer to ref it. Like, that's a disaster. So there's a referee shortage across the state, and there's the general level of behaviour towards referees from community football up to the elite level is abhorrent. So I understand the need for this policy, but it's been broadened out to include bringing the game into disrepute, which apparently means anything that FV decides it means. So Football Victoria already issued Preston with a strike for something that happened, I think, in a junior game. A second strike means that they can take 3 points away from the relevant team who receives that strike. And a third strike means if they want to, they can take 3 points away from every single team at the club. So potentially, if Preston get a third strike, the women's and girls teams could lose 3 points for a misogynistic banner that was displayed at Lakeside. That's the policy. So Preston received a second strike, and they have decided to take 3 points away from the senior men's team because they deemed the banners at Lakeside to have been bringing the game into disrepute, which is very broad language, and it basically means whatever you want it to mean. But that's what they've decided. I think the piecemeal way that Preston's punishment is being dished out is very odd. Mm-hmm. You've got a interim sanction, which is games behind closed doors, which they came to without an investigation. It was just straight up. Then you've got the second strike and 3 points being taken away. Then there's a tribunal to take away more points. And it's sort of like, when does it stop? Because I'm guessing that there'll be another suspended sentence, on top of whatever punishment they receive at this tribunal. And then the sword of Damocles is just going to continue to hang over Preston for weeks and weeks. So, when you look at other codes and other sports who have tribunals, usually there's like a finite judgment, and they say this is the punishment and this is what's going to meter out. It just keeps getting drip fed. And I think that's a great source of frustration to people who follow the club and live or die by the results on the weekend, because you just don't know how many points Preston need to make the finals now.
Yeah, it does feel like the goalposts are in danger of shifting at any point. And of course, we don't know what the tribunal decision is going to be. We don't know how much this conversation could shift before the next time we have to talk about it. And if you are going to, I guess, look at this set or strata of sanctions as, like things that involve bringing the game into disrepute can count in this 3 strikes policy, I think it would be pretty hard to argue that Preston supporters haven't in some way done that with the incident for which they're being punished. But at the same time, and I hold my hands up, it's not often that I do something like this, but I went and read those regulations at the start of the season because I did think that 3 strikes policy was, this is a bit different. This is not something we've seen. And it's hard not to feel, having read it at the start of the year when it was introduced. No one on this podcast is suggesting that Preston, it's unfair to punish them or the individuals responsible in some way. There's no condoning of the behavior. But from an outsider's perspective, Ivka, it does feel a little bit, and maybe I misread the rules at the time, that's entirely possible, but that a structure to punish clubs is being retrofit to I guess, mesh with the situation that's unfolded.
Josh mentioned, looking at other codes and how they punish teams. Look at our own federation and how they punish teams previously. Oakley and Dandenong Thunder last year or the year before, the game was stopped, called off because there was a fight in the corner. Someone had a knife. And what was the punishment for that? 2 games between Oakland and Daniel Thunder played behind closed doors. No point deductions. That's 10 times worse than what happened at Lakeside. There's several other incidents this year. Malvern and Box Hill. Presidents going on the pitch fighting with players. Individual sanctions. No club penalties. You know, I feel like Preston's been severely mistreated in this situation. I agree with Josh in the point of, how it's being drip fed. Dan Birrell's video. Then 2 weeks later, 3 points. Like, it's unprecedented the way Preston's getting treated at the moment. Was it wrong? Yes, we've been through this. We all agreed that it's wrong, but the punishment doesn't fit the crime. And the tribunal hearing's still going to happen. They could be miraculously proven innocent in this whole thing, and they've still been punished. You know, they've got a case that they can defend tonight. And people look at it, two games behind closed doors, don't look at it that much. That's $100,000 to Preston. It's a massive blow to them. With the crowds that they get, the ticket sales, food, drinks, easy $50,000 a game they'd be pulling in for their home games. So it's $100,000 fine you've given them with not even looking into it. And the club didn't even find out until the video came out about it. They weren't even notified that was going to happen, which is wrong in itself. It's jeopardised the competition now, especially if they get another point deduction tonight at the tribunal. I'll lose my shit, because if Preston get deducted enough points not to make the final series, don't play the final series, because it's bullshit. Preston should be second on the table now, 1 point behind Oakley with 2 games to go, and you might as well just play for the charity cup then if you're going to deduct them even more points. Because one of the best teams isn't in the competition. And if they don't get deducted points, I hope Preston wins it all to stick it up everyone's ass. I hope they win the Australia Cup, because you can't get deducted points in that, to stick it up everyone's ass. Because it's not fair on the players. It's not fair on the coaching staff. It's not fair on the 99% of people that go to the games, the committee that works their ass off. I don't think Football Victoria factors any of that into their decision-making. They've obviously been pressured by people or person or politicians, because there's a lot of noise made about what happened at Lakeside. Again, yes, wrong, and we live in 2026 and that's the world we live in. But there's obviously pressure coming from elsewhere for them to make these decisions, because we've never seen a situation handled this poorly ever in the history of Football Victoria.
And yet there are people who will look at that and say, oh, they're getting off lightly because, they should be relegated. I'm like, well, I mean, I think you got to take your blinkers off if you think that. Like, the question is, do you want people at the game or not? Would you rather have a game that 50 people attended and there was no incidents? Like, I think you have to take the rough with the smooth if you want crowds and rambunctious atmospheres, and you should just try and keep the troublemakers out of the stadium, which Preston have successfully done at their home games.
But again, yes, it was an incident, but there's been far worse incidents this year, last year, and the years before that haven't been treated this way, hasn't got the attention that this has. So obviously there's an agenda against Preston. That's obvious. People can't deny that, Obviously the nationality is coming to play, the people that are attacking them. And I'm not Macedonian. I've got no links to Preston. But I feel as though they have been severely mistreated, and the public perception of them is bullshit. They're a great club with great people that work their ass off. And don't forget, it wasn't long ago that they were getting 10 people to their games, and they've worked their ass off as a club and a community to get 3, 4, 5,000 people. And don't worry, next Wednesday night when they pull in 8,000, 9,000 against South Melbourne and everyone wants to suck them off for how good the atmosphere is and all that, there'll be the same people that are pointing the finger at them for what happened at Lakeside. So it's all good to jump on their coattails, but then slam them when some incident happens. It's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, punishments, they are meant to be a deterrent from repeating the crime. Like when you get fined for a speed, when you speed, not that I've ever done that, but, or you're using your phone while driving. Again, not that I would ever do that. But, you often get the fine, you think, gee, that's a lot of money for the actual crime that I've committed. But that's the point, right? That like you're meant to deter people who have committed a crime from doing that crime again, right? That they're meant to be disincentivized. The problem with these punishments is, yes, they are deterrents, but they are deterrents for everyone. They are not just deterrents for the individuals who have done the wrong thing and should be rightly and resoundingly punished.
And they don't appear to be effective deterrents for those
No, well,
individuals.
no. And they are cross the board deterrents for anyone who seeks to turn up to Preston games and feel like, they can come and have a good time. And there is no shortage of Preston fans, I am sure, Josh, who are just as keen to see to it that the individuals who have committed the wrongdoings never return to BT Connor and show their heads, or never return to away games and show their heads again.
And from what I understand, the club is working very hard to identify those people, and is cooperating fully. So people think they haven't done enough. I don't know what else they can really do in this situation. Look, it's difficult, right? Because the banners were unacceptable, right? But I think we are rapidly hurtling towards a situation where Preston might decide not to have an away allocation at South Melbourne or Heidelberg or Oakley next season, and the game loses. And you know who else loses? The clubs who are hosting the games. Maybe some of those clubs would be happy with that. I think that's short-sighted. There's a lot of gate receipts and alcohol sales and Savlaki money that you're losing out on if you don't make these Preston fans welcome at your games. Like, we're actually all in this together, and that seems to have been completely lost this year.
We also
and the
lose-
points deductions, Nick, sorry. I think the fact that points deductions are on the table has actually created a poisonous snitching culture in the NPL.
100%.
It's like, actually, we want to dob each other in because
100%.
we're in a rat race to get our noses in front in the league. And that's disgusting. That just pisses me off so much, because there was a tacit kind of agreement maybe last year and the year before, even when Preston played South in the Cup, that these occasions are actually good for Australian football and it gets positive coverage around the game. And they're great spectacles, and we show the highlights and the crowds and everything for months and months to come. And this is how we sell our product. And even if you don't like, Preston for whatever reason, you can appreciate that when they come to your ground, you're going to make a fuckload of money, and it's going to be good content with the atmosphere that is generated. And that kind of collective spirit that seemed to be there, at least tacitly, has gone. And I think it's down to the fact that they're taking points away from a team, because it creates this race to the bottom, essentially.
What I was just going to say, Josh, is bang on about the content side of things. Like, in terms of actually selling the product, when Preston come to town, like, having the away fans there, or whether they're playing at home, and you're talking about like the away fans. Imagine if they didn't rock up for the Doherty Cup final, like, imagine like, and look, that was a well-behaved spectacle from what we understand. And, you imagine if they're not there to celebrate that sort of moment, or another big game on the road, or whatever that might be.
And Football Victoria knew that, because I'm sure they did pretty well financially out of the Doherty Cup final.
It's things like that.
$30 a ticket, you'd hope so.
But that's the thing, like, that's a big part of selling your product, like the NPL Victoria product. When things are obviously, like, again, we're not condoning what happens at the big show, but when things are run really well, like, how many times have we seen the John Albano Panenka advertised as a big moment to sort of sell the NPL Victoria product?
That's the clip I bring up on my phone whenever someone asks me what I'm doing, like commentating games and stuff. I don't play with the sound on. Not unless they ask me to.
Only when you're home alone.
But like, yeah, of course. But like, seeing those throngs of spectators in the behind the goal in the grandstand, especially when they were illuminated by an emergency marine lighting source, everyone goes, "Wow, oh, that's actually legit." Like, that's not like a community Sunday kickabout. And we come at this from a place of, this is what we think it could be. And we take these like seriously as a league and as a sporting product. Like, we think the NPL can be great and should be well attended and should be a rollicking atmosphere every week. And sometimes it feels like it's treated like it's, an amateur, like, community comp. And that I feel like we need to aim higher.
And there's every reason to, in the majority, I think at least, to have hope. Like, I've been having this conversation with probably every single one of the people sitting on these couches individually, some of you collectively. If you actually look over the last 5 years of Australian football, which, let's face it, has been a pretty dire time for the game in many, many respects. There's been good moments, but it's been hard yakka, some of the things that football fans, A-League, NPL, across the board have had to put up with. And one of the few places that we have actually seen hope for the game and tangible growth in terms of more people turning up to a product over the course of weeks. And yes, it's a slightly flimsier statistical argument because the record keeping is not as good at NPL level as the A-League level, for example. But where you see the growth in crowds and clubs who have been able to build up to more than what they've had, and not just Preston, Sutherland have broken their crowd record 3 times this year. And that, trust me, they were getting 200 people to a game. They're getting close to 2,000 now. You know, the growth in Australian football, the growth potential is coming from the semi-professional tier more so or more frequently than right now, as much as it pains me to say it, we are seeing at the A-League level.
And also the interest. Like, I mean, you know, we were there, Josh, you know, Ivka, you know, we've seen the numbers that Football Victoria was showing with the live streams and the interest in the NPL product over the last 12 months. Like, even before this season, haven't actually looked under the hood to see what it is for 2026, but you can imagine that they would be comparable. And some of the crowds we've seen, not only at, say, like the Prestons or the South Melbourne matches, I mean, you were there for Green Gully versus George Cross earlier this season, a big event, having Georgies back in the top flight. I mean, I know that's for
the start of it all.
We literally were at the beginning
of the journey.
But even like some of the matches that we've seen, like even last night when we were at the Venator Club, seeing Bulleen v North Sunshine, like it was not, you know, a massive crowd, but the noise was fantastic.
North Sunshine had ultras.
I mean, I was announcing the starting lineups and getting the cheers for the away team and the boos for the home team. So, you know, like there's, as you said, Lachie, we're seeing that growth come right across the board, not just here in Victoria.
Well, and the irony of it all is that in some way, shape or form, Dandenong City were kind of part of that last year as well at the grand final. Yeah. But the problem is that, you know, we are spending a lot of time talking about, you know, our feelings around Preston's punishments. For me, Dandenong City's punishment is the most ridiculous of the lot.
100%.
Yeah, they've been the
because they could be in finals contention right now, but they are arguably being punished for the behaviour, like at least with the punishment that is being labelled out to Preston, you can mount a pretty good case that the people who are showing those banners probably do have some Preston, if not broader, you know, sympathies to Preston. But I would say with absolute certainty that people who were firing flares at the grand final last year, respectfully to Dandenong City, were not Dandenong City fans. They were fans of the wider Croatian community, and an individual club has been punished for the actions of a wider collective. That is the most ridiculous. So it's not just a Preston thing. It's just a broader collective punishment for the actions, bad actions of individuals. Is just not a good way to encourage more people to turn up. It's not a good way to promote competitive balance and fairness in the league. It's not a good way, as Josh said, to promote a collective spirit of being part of a greater purpose. Yes, you're fighting for titles and for 3 points, and it's the most important thing on any given weekend, but it has come at the expense of an ability to see the bigger picture when there is a very exciting bigger picture out there to be seen.
That's why Football Victoria needs to move away from point deductions as a penalty. It's bizarre. It would be the only league where point deductions are given out like they're candy at the moment. It jeopardises the competition. You bloody had Melbourne Victory and Melbourne City storm the pitch at Amy Park. What, it was 2-3 years ago. There's no point deductions for that. You don't see point deductions anywhere across the world except in NPL Victoria. Just scrap it. Find another punishment.
Point deductions are usually for like administrative errors. Like you see
that
overseas,
happened
like
in New South
usually
Wales
like
this year.
when you see a team goes bankrupt and they are forced into administration and they get
or
point
there's some,
deductions.
Which, to be fair, I think it's a stupid punishment as well. But anyway.
Sorry, what was that?
when Italian clubs are making phone
Oh, well,
calls
yeah,
to
in
referees.
Calciopoli, for instance. But, you know,
Like match
it's
fixing.
it's usually reserved for things that are off-field issues. Like, I mean, remind me, I forgot Victor had like a suspended sentence, but
I
it
think
was
it was
never
suspended, yeah.
Yeah, but the biggest sanction was the fines.
Yeah, 5. I'm not saying.
Yeah. But yeah,
They
I do
still
hear what you're
still got
saying.
punished severely, $500,000 fine, but no point deductions. You know, it just jeopardizes your own product, and I don't see what the benefit of a point deduction does to a club.
It actually takes value away from the competition. Guess what a fine does? Goes back to Football Victoria and theoretically at least is reinvested in grassroots football. I think you should at least give clubs the option, say this is your big fine, or if you can't afford the fine, you can take the points. And,
that's
and
a
because
good
because the
alternative.
money actually might go to some good use. But instead of like a fine, we get games behind closed doors, which is lost revenue. No one gets it.
Well,
it
it's
doesn't.
sort of
It doesn't go to
cutting off
Football
your nose-
Victoria.
It's cutting off your nose to spite your face.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
less gate for the club, less revenue for Football Victoria. No one's getting a benefit.
High streaming numbers.
Well, yes.
While
Yeah,
we
those
are on-
ratings for the Green Gully game were off chops.
I know we're not up to this segment, but I feel like it's apt that we should talk about it now
Yeah, let's do it.
because we are talking about point deductions. Now, VPL1, obviously the big news with Western
This
United
is the
last week.
earliest VPL. I mean, we're at the hour mark, but this is the
but
earliest
genuinely-
VPL1 has
but
ever got a run on the
genuinely,
podcast.
this is also when you talk about points deductions, and I understand this situation. It's hard to find a solution that's going to please everybody. I completely get that when Western United went kaput last week and they had to make a decision about how the rest of the season's going to go, they went to the rule book, and in the rules it stipulates, games are wiped, buys put in place. But when FA have their own discretion to overrule that and change that with 3 games left in the season, that doesn't sit well with me. Because what has happened is, for those that don't know, is every game's wiped. So if you beat Western United this season, you lose 3 points. If you beat them twice, you lose 6. So who does this benefit in this situation? What's happened is the teams that actually lost against Western United are the big winners. The teams that won their games against Western United are the big losers. So we have seen throughout the entire ladder this big shift, whereas we could have had a very simple situation. And I've spent a lot of time doing the maths because, VPL1, it's my corner. But the thing is, it could have very easily been 3-0 forfeits. There's 3 games left. They're playing Langwarrin, North Sunshine, and North Geelong. You enact those 3-0 forfeits. It doesn't really change things too much. North Sunshine and Langwarrin's gap is still the same. North Geelong jump a little bit by 3 points, but it doesn't impact the promotion race. It doesn't really impact the relegation race. In fact, if you enact that 3-0 win, they've actually played one more game than the teams around them. But by doing this, you have multiple teams across the league that have lost -6 points. So Northcote, Brunswick Juventus, Bulleen, and Brunswick City all lost -6 points, which impacts the automatic promotion race. It impacts Bulleen's hopes of playoffs, and Brunswick City, who had fought tooth and nail to get themselves out of the relegation battle and put themselves in a position to get into the top 6. And suddenly then they lost those points and find themselves behind. Now, this obviously, as I said, I understand that finding a decision to suit everyone is difficult, and there would be teams that would have been pleased with this. I mean, as a result of this, Melbourne Knights only needed a draw on the weekend. They got their draw, they're promoted. Congratulations,
Ivka.
Ivka.
They would have been dancing a merry jig out of Petty Reserve. 6
Yeah,
points.
I mean,
6 points in a weekend.
But there were teams like North Geelong and Manningham who benefited from this because they lost both their games. So what I don't understand is what's come out of this is how is it that the teams that won their games are the ones that get punished the most, but the teams who lost are the biggest winners when those games were on and they were sanctioned by FE and those games were being played, they did what you're supposed to do on the field. They are win games and get points on the board.
Couple of points on this. The first one, who else is going to feel massively aggrieved? And this is maybe the only time I'll ever say a nice thing about them. No personal beef with them. They're just local rivals. So, you got to play the game. Mate, Mornington will be spewing. They were knocked out of the Australia Cup.
Yeah.
They could be going to Queensland this weekend. They could be taking on Lions FC.
But this whole thing has opened up a massive can of worms right across it all because we were talking about golden boots. Goals are wiped. So Mark Leonard was top of the golden boot. He's now wiped from dribbling.
Imagine him having to accept it with a redacted club on gold medal night.
So
he has to sit on his own kids' corner
So from what
table.
I
He
understand-
should compete under the Olympic flag, like the Russian athletes.
So goals are banned, but cards aren't. So cards still stand.
That's bullshit.
So there's all these little things that have opened up. You spoke about that. And then there's the added thing with North Sunshine that they have players that they have signed from Western United in this window who are still technically cup tied. So they can't play Ali Al-Sheikh, Victor Mahindo, Deng Mai, Nick Savicevic, the load of players that they've brought in from Western United, Alex Marmora, in the cup. That would bolster their team significantly in the Australia Cup, but that game technically doesn't exist. So for me personally, if this was a decision that you make at the start of the season when you're 3 or 4 games in and Western United go kaput, it's fair enough because you've still got 20 games of the season to play. It's less aggrieved. It's the fact that there were 3 games left. And the fact that when you look at both solutions and you see the 3-0 wins handed for a forfeit, it doesn't impact things nearly as much. This decision has impacted the league so much. And yet people will say, you've got your Bulleen hat on here. In this situation with this particular point, I do feel for them. And this is the Bulleen hat. Yep, it's on. They would be 4th right now as a result of winning. So that means hosting a promotion playoff. You talk about missed revenue. What does that mean for Bulleen missing out on the chance, if they don't finish 4th, missing out the chance of hosting a promotion playoff? That's thousands of dollars out of pocket right there.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be a lucrative day for the Elephant Redbacks, so not all bad news.
Well, but no, but I'm saying if they're playing Melbourne Victory, like they missed that opportunity of a big fixture at home at the Venator Club, which would have been a big time event.
I'll tell you what will be lucrative, Nick, and I'm going to heel off here. Very supportive of this decision from Football Victoria because you know what is lucrative? Another season in VPL1. Langwarrin Soccer Club
the thing is,
could be home and host.
Yeah, but they could have had a 3-0 forfeit.
Fine anyway. Langy would have been fine anyway. And it's just for me, it doesn't sit right with me that teams that win games are the ones that suffer. Yeah. That's what doesn't sit right with me. It's across the board. It is, you're talking about points deductions. Surely there was another way to do this because we remember what happened last year when Western United lost their A-League license. They got kicked out of the top 6. They moved 7th in. They didn't wipe the results with a couple games to go. They could have easily decided if that was the case. I don't know what the rules and regs were last year.
They weren't
so
insolvent; they were hibernating, so that's different. Somehow.
But the point of but the thing is though, Western United,
the Tasmanian
arguably,
Devils doing the same right now.
No, but Western United, their team is contingent on their A-League license.
Yeah, this is exactly the point I was going to make.
This is the other part of it too.
I don't understand why they were allowed to compete this year. I know it was good for all the young players who are in their squad, but they would have got gigs at other NPL clubs or in other academies anyway. So I think once you were unable to compete in a final series and you destabilized the league season, so basically these A-League teams, right? Their place in the pyramid is contingent upon them being an A-League youth setup, presumably having an active A-League men's team. And I'm sure there are legalities, but just from an intuitive perspective, if Western United aren't competing in the A-League, they're not an A-League club, whether they're hibernating or...
Well, that's why they were led into the cup, right?
Exactly. So they didn't start at State League 7. They started at NPL 3 or VPL 2, whatever it was called at the time. So why are they allowed to keep their place in the pyramid? If they wanted to put in a State League 7 team, I would have said, go for your life. But I don't understand why they were allowed to compete this year full stop. And I do think there should have been a more widely publicised policy as to what happens if they're unable to complete the season, because you could have seen this coming a mile away. And it's unfortunate that it's happened 3 games from the finish line. They almost got there.
Yeah.
I mean, part of me thinks
could they not have made them just sort of run on fumes?
Because and I'm sure FV has I think this is like a legal defense. Like it's we have an insolvency policy. If a club goes bankrupt, this is what happens. But it just makes no sporting or intuitive sense. And we've seen in other situations, like FV has discretionary powers.
Discretion.
They can do whatever they want. Like I find it a little bit unfair. I find all these weird permutations: cup ties, golden boot, the votes count, the players best and fairest votes.
Why are you why are we? Do we have to take away if someone scored a goal of the week contender?
Yeah, did I have to send
would
back
we
their
have had?
socks?
Would we have had to ask for a return to sender on the grip socks?
Literally.
These are the questions that everyone's wondering.
If we'd awarded Dante Conte's goal that week when he scored a banger in Tarnee, we joked
send
with
it
him
back.
yesterday. We said, well, you have to send them back.
The grip socks don't count.
But literally, you look at how the ladder would be right now, and obviously Knights wouldn't be promoted yet, but they'd be 1 win away. You'd back them to get a result against Warren. Sorry, Lachie. But with Northcote playing Brunswick Juventus, they still probably sort it out. They get it done in front of their home fans. They're up. Bulleen are in a position to host a playoff. Brunswick City are 3 points behind FC Melbourne Serbia. And right now, they're 6 points behind FC Melbourne Serbia.
That's where it's a bit ridiculous. Yeah.
So Brunswick City have gone from, we have some hope, we're right in the mix, we have a chance to go on a late run, we're starting to find some form. Josh was making Odysseus references about, Nick Kyrgiopoulos' return. But they were making a push. But now their season is effectively done. So yes, they can still get there, but it's highly unlikely. So for me, it all comes back to that we have punished teams that have won games. And that just personally for me, for what football, and the integrity of the competition and everything, that matters a lot.
And it means that
and
VPL2 is the last league that has not been compromised
maybe we've been
in some way.
sleeping on VPL2 as
No,
the last pure league.
VPL2 now means only 2 teams go down.
Yep.
So, but then also on top of that, this is not just in VPL1. This
Close
actually
the whole way through.
right through the pyramid. This is the
VPL2
juniors
is like the
and everything.
Well, that was
the
inevitable
Amish
based on
community
West
of
United going
Victorian
back.
football, just like unaffected by the rise of technology. They're just out there doing. They're just out there doing their
They're
own
raising a
thing.
barn.
They're just doing their own thing.
At the end of the day,
GB Suns.
yeah. At the end of the day, as we said, like there was all sorts of legalities involved, and they went within the rules. And finding a decision like this, you're not going to please everybody. You're not. But at the end of the day, it just felt like the logical thing to do when you got 3 games left and you go, okay, let's have a look what would happen if we award 3 forfeits. Okay, the ladder doesn't change too much. We just go on as business as usual. Those teams get a bye. North Sunshine get a weekend off to prepare against Lions. I'm sure they would have probably been quite happy to get the 3-0 win. Of course, they would have had to handle business in their other games. But it's all these little things that matter in this little run home.
And one of the big things is you make a good point about how it's sort of we've got 2 of the top 3 leagues in the state compromised by administrative decisions at this point. But also, why is the outside world, like that card thing, I'm pretty sure, I'm happy to stand corrected, but it's something that we've worked out because we've spoken to people around the grounds. That's not something that we've found information about online. If you are going to make a decision as drastic as this, which no decision, even if they'd gone down Nick's pathway or a completely different pathway, never let them in at the start of the year, whatever, let them in perpetuity, let them play in State League 7, let them play in State League 22, someone would have been pissed off, right? Like there's going to be someone unhappy. But if you are going to come out and make a decision that you know is going to have backlash, you know is going to be unpopular, take the time to explain the permutations. Why are people being left to wonder, are my 3 goals against Western United going to count? Is my yellow card going to count? Am I going to miss out on the gold medal, which could be the opportunity of a lifetime for someone at the tail end of their career, for someone who's been a state league battler for years? Why are they being left to scratch their heads and wonder what this is all going to mean? This is the stuff we need to get on the front foot and explain. This is the change that's happening. This is how it's going to affect the teams around you. This is what it means for goals, yellow card, all of the different scenarios. We've budgeted for it. This is how it's going to work. You may not like it, but now, if we communicate it proactively, you're not going to be left in any doubt as to what is going to actually be happening.
Absolutely. And then this, again, if you want to keep opening the cans of worms, I mean, if clubs haven't paid goal bonuses yet, match appearances.
Yeah, I mean,
what about that?
Are VPL,
So what about
are
that?
VPL executives asking for match payments back from the games that no
Sorry,
longer-
mate, didn't exist.
Yeah, your hat trick against Western United doesn't count.
I would love to say that the chances of a VPL executive doing that are 0.
Yeah.
But I'm not 100%. It's just slightly above 0 is my personal feeling.
I just think, end of the day, there was a much more simple solution that could have been.
You've sold me, Nick. Initially, I thought that it was probably the right thing that they did, but after listening to you speak like that, I agreed that they probably should have been 3-0 forfeits, or maybe just wipe the first half of the season results.
Something.
Yeah.
At least you're not punishing everyone as deeply as this. Like, it's the...
Sorry, we've
You
done
got
it,
Mark
ladies and gentlemen.
Ivkovic to agree on
Yeah,
something.
actually,
You've
this
convinced
is
him.
incredible.
The first time that Mark Ivkovic has changed his mind on anything
The
year.
the ostrich rises from the sand.
He was convincing, very convincing.
I just-
but it's when you
yeah.
look at that Brunswick City one in particular, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
They've worked their ass off the past month, and now they're just back to where they were virtually.
So, like, my question then comes back to, again, is like when this season's all said and done and we've played the next 2 weekends, and if there's a team ultimately that misses out on the promotion playoff or misses out on automatic promotion as a result of this, when the maths is all done, like, then what? Like, those clubs are going to feel extremely aggrieved. And
That's
rightfully
another
so.
can of worms.
Again, there is
Who'd
so
be a
many. We've
football
got
administrator?
cans flying everywhere at the moment.
Talk about a crisis in recruiting referees. I think after listening to this podcast, I don't think anyone's going to want to be an administrator.
Look, that's where you have to give a bit of leeway to Football Victoria, where that's a difficult situation to deal with. Initially, credit to them for proactively coming out very, very quickly. That was within an hour or two.
Yeah,
of that
it was
news.
very, very quick. Yeah.
I thought it was pretty. Usually, stuff like that drags on for 3 or 4 days. So it was pretty quick that they came out with that. Maybe too proactively after you going in depth of that. Maybe they didn't think of those other options, but good riddance to Western United for starters. That's fucking pointless, their existence, and thank God that they're gone, especially out of VPL. Shouldn't have been playing this year. Pointless club. And yes, I know a lot of people are affected by it that are involved there, and they had good intentions. Don't worry, 20 years ago in the NSL, there was a lot of good people that just got kicked to the wayside as well. But maybe if Football Victoria had their time again, they probably wouldn't have had him in the competition this year.
Sorry to keep going down that track, but the other team that would feel very aggrieved by this, Eastern Lions. Just they were the third last team to go down, and I mean, with this precedent in place, they survived last year and they're playing in VPL1. So again, this is why it's like when you keep unraveling, you keep going deeper and deeper into. I feel like a conspiracy theorist. I'm going deeper into
Nick's
the
wearing a
rabbit hole.
tinfoil hat by
And
the end of the
again,
episode.
I'll say this for the final time. I understand the decision that FV made was difficult. This is just purely that I just think when you look at it from how it could have been, you can't help but go, I think this would have been a better way.
My guess, and this is only a guess, and based on a couple of things that were written on Twitter by the FV CEO, and I think this is the path that the lawyers said, this protects you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which you have to keep that in your mind.
Because you don't want Football Victoria getting sued for millions of dollars by an aggrieved Western United if you kick them out last season, or you don't want this to drag on.
Because that was a very carefully worded statement that came out about that Western
and it felt like they had it ready to go.
Yeah.
It felt like they had this policy like in the gun, like this is going to be what we do if this happens. And I reckon it's been probably workshopped to death by the legal team as opposed to what is fairest in a sporting context, which sucks. But it also is the reality of the world we live in now. If there are clubs that are particularly litigious, and I think Western United would probably have fallen into that category before their untimely demise. You need to protect yourself. So I think that's the reason why they've done this.
That's why I'm pleading Football Victoria, no more point deductions for 2027. And can we just have a nice, clean year? There's no more Western United, no point deductions, and it's just a nice, easy year
like
next
the
year.
point deductions and point additions. I mean, some of the reason why I've got this the
Poor
ladder
Flash
what it
score.
looks is because Flash Score hasn't updated.
The poor live score provider. Will somebody please think of the live score providers.
City still haven't got their 2 points back on the
I said to you the other day, they've done incredibly well, Flash Score, to maintain all these point deductions. But that's another one. The Green Gully Dandenong City. Where's the statement about that? That Dandenong City got awarded the points.
Yeah,
for that
it's only
game.
been added on.
There's been no statement released.
Yeah.
Flash Score hasn't updated it. Dribble has. Dandenong City got awarded the full 3 points against Green Gully because Green Gully played an ineligible player. Why is there no press release about that? Why did that get swept under the carpet?
Because Green Gully are relegated, no one cares. I guess.
But it affects Dandenong City though.
It's true.
Yeah, because now Dandy City are 3 points outside the top 6, and on other ladders it says it's 5. So again, it's like it's one of those things you don't know unless you know. Like you got to look
Unless
in the
you
right
listen to
places.
this pod.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'll finish on is this is an incredibly difficult league to follow now. For like, imagine if you're a new fan coming in. Like,
The Papoose, they'd be so confused. They finally got the technology working, and now the technology is not telling the truth.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, think of the octogenarians who are writing everything down in their match record for the
This
year.
is not a technologically savvy league. This is going to send some people for a sixer.
well, I mean, they'd have to be hoping that they've done their record keeping in pencil and not in pen, or they'd have to get the whiteout out to.
This league has got so many asterisks this season. Like, it makes it difficult to follow because it's just like statement FC week after week. So it is frustrating, but look, hopefully we get a good VPL promotion playoffs and we can talk about the stuff happening on the pitch.
Fingers crossed that when this is, as talking about VPL, is that when it's all set and done with this, like when we get to the final day, is that there's the least amount of disruption despite all of this, that when it's all set and done, you do the maths and you look back and you're like, all right, it's as close to the pin as possible. It's all looking okay. It's more so in the case of if a team misses out on an opportunity, particularly for automatic promotion or making a promotion playoff or relegation. I mean, what I was saying about Bulleen,
Why'd you
obviously,
point to me when you said relegation?
because you're the Langy man. But what I'm saying is, like, look, promotion playoff hosting it, it's a big deal. It still is a big deal. But look, especially when it comes to maybe you've got one more chance of promotion or you don't have to play in a playoff. Like, that's a big deal. Because imagine, like, you're up, you think you're going up, and then that changes. Or you think you got a chance to play in some more games of meaning at the end of the season, but then that changes.
But you'll never know if it balances out, because it changes your perspective going into a game. There's no way Melbourne Knights draws 1-1 with Port Melbourne if the table remained the same before that game.
Well, I mean, they would have been under a lot more heat going into that game.
They would have won that game. You know, again, Oakley clear at the top of the table. Preston's 1 or 2 points behind them without their point deduction. Who knows where their results go?
Yeah, well, that's why I got to give. I mean, we'll talk about it in more detail later, but got to give credit to teams like Northcote, Brunswick City, and Bulleen for all putting it behind them and getting the job done on the weekend, because that could be a massive distraction going into that game. You're feeling that bit of extra pressure, and they got those wins. So credit to them.
Are the angry men finished yelling at the clouds, or can we move? Let's celebrate a positivity down at Casey Fields, where a rollicking South, no issues with crowd troubles there, let me tell you that for nothing, where a rollicking South Melbourne went, I believe, 8 games unbeaten in all competitions, a 3-0 win, a brilliant first half brace from Buljuach. Mark Ivkovic made it fairly comfortable. South Melbourne did make a little bit of a tricky work of sealing the game, and Melbourne City had fits and starts. I mean, you were watching another game by the final 30 minutes of it, so I don't know how deep your analysis is going to be on the second half, but I never commentated with an iPad kid before, but, you know, there you go. If the TikTok generation start commentating, it's going to look like Mark Ivkovic watching his iPad in the second half of that game. But
needed some Subway Surfer.
Well, that may be the only way that Mark Ivkovic can watch a game anymore.
We'll just wait till we post this podcast. I'm going to have a split screen.
Well, that was me for the points deduction discussion. I was just playing mini clip over here. South Melbourne had a job to do. Melbourne City, in terms of the team that they fielded, it was very very young, but South got the job done pretty comfortably. Yeah,
it was obviously literally men against boys. I think we said that on the commentary, especially that first half. South destroyed Melbourne City. It was a very aggressive lineup from South Melbourne. Virtually every attacker that they had started the game. Swibble, Jawach, Yoshida, Mezzaruni, David Yu, all of them started, and they just really pressed that South Melbourne Melbourne City defense really high in that first half, and really dominated them in that first half. Then slowly, probably half an hour into that first half, Melbourne City slowly worked it out a little bit, had a little bit more confidence, and played some balls over the top, and nearly scored. Javi Lopez on return made a really good one-on-one save that kept him in the contest. But South Melbourne I thought they dominated that game. They'll be disappointed with their second half. I thought that probably was more reflective of Yoshida coming off at halftime. Thought he really controlled that first half.
Yeah, big time.
And Cox didn't really have the greatest impact in that second half when he came on. But I think they just took their foot off the pedal. They've got bigger fish to fry in the next couple of weeks. And mentally, when you're dominating a game like that, you're 3-0 up, it's pretty easy to switch off. So I don't think there'll be too many concerns coming out of that second half.
No, I mean, yeah, you were not wrong about Uchida. I mean, he was just effervescent down that left, and the opening goal felt like an inevitability. The way they
was coming,
the way that they were, I guess, getting the better of Melbourne City as they tried to play it out from the back. One of the deepest times that Melbourne City managed to progress the ball out of their defensive third was when Lachie Charles ran like 40 yards out of his goal. Just went on like a pro club style run. It was quite ridiculous, but a testament to the difficulty they had in that game. But you knew honestly, I knew the first goal was coming when Uchida gets there, because you looked across to the box and there was 4 South Melbourne players just in a line. There was 4 to the floor in the penalty area, just standing in a straight line. You knew one of them was going to get it. I mean, it was a very young City side, and while we sold it, Ivka as you know, starting to get towards a do or die stage for Melbourne City in their finals hopes, they still got the game in hand. They play Preston tomorrow night, but I don't know. We don't know who's going to come back into this team, but had the feeling of a club who are maybe just sort of happy to be safe and will sort of leave it at there. But they did have some good plays in this game. I thought Julian Recchia in the middle.
He really impressed me.
He was
Recchia.
outstanding.
Is he of the Recchia clan?
Yes, he is.
Nephew of Carl Recchia.
Vlanis as well in the not so good in the first half, but in the second. So even the really young players in this game stood up and did a job.
Can I also point out that Sinisa Kahadzic has taken to Twitter again to point out that another 14-pass goal, and this time he took on board my feedback from last week. He's hidden his cursor from the screen recorder.
Well, yeah, I mean, he also muted the commentary, so you know.
Look, probably because I was on the call. That's why not you, Lachie.
It's tough to screen record with commentary on with sound on a Mac. You have to finagle it a little bit.
This is true.
You know, I'll give him a pass.
I'm going to tell myself that's the reason why. That's the reason why. I have to say, probably my only
Someone give this poor man the Liga login for South Melbourne.
Probably my only last point on this game is that even though it was a comprehensive win for South Melbourne, Sinisa was box office on the sideline. The way he was yelling at his players and the stuff he was saying, it was he honestly at points in the game. I know Mark Ivkovic was doing a bit of Candy Crush in the corner of the box, but if you weren't entertained by what you were seeing on the field, you would definitely have gotten your money's worth watching what Sinisa Kahadzic was doing. Shall we move on to your game, Nick?
Yeah,
a nice 2-0 win for Dandenong City against an Altona who were maybe a little bit soft in the centre at moments in this game, but it just keeps the dream alive.
And a little bit prickly on the edges. If you were listening to what Eamon Sordo was barking back and forth.
There was a bit of a brouhaha.
Take us through it, because it does keep the dream alive a little bit for Hajduk in the final fortnight.
Absolutely. I mean, Dandy City now only 3 points outside, and this is, as we've spoken about, when the weather gets cold, Dandy City get hot. So they're finding form at the right time, especially after that loss against Bentley. We all were like, all right, it's looking like curtains. And then the 0-0 draw against Green Gully, which has now been turned into a 3-0 win. They've been given a little bit of a lifeline, and they've been able to kick on, and they've just handled business in the games they've had to. Beat Dandy Thunder 3-0 and beat Altona 2-0. And look, to be fair, it's one of those weird ones where two things can be true at the same time. Dandy City could have won this game 4 or 5-0, but Altona actually weren't that bad. Like, they had some really nice moments. The only thing that probably let them down was just in the final third a little bit with their final ball. And, you know, because Alex Gust was everywhere in the middle of the park trying to get John Mabok involved, and Owen McCloskey as well was very good. But Dandy City, Pierce Waring had a couple of great opportunities early, Tim Atharinos as well. But ultimately they kept knocking on the door and banging on the door, and it paid off. Will Bauer's goal, I mean, he took a deflection, but he did so well in the build-up to create that for himself. Valley Sesnick at right back was just tremendous all evening, playing in that ball. And then Parach Cullen just willing it over the goal line to get the win for Dandy City. And look, they keep themselves in it. And they've got two, obviously, very big games coming up. They'll play Preston on Saturday. Don't go to Frank Holohan on Friday. You'll only see, I don't know if the juniors are playing Friday, but if not, you'll only see Kangaroos.
Probably see, I was going to say,
a lot of Kangaroos and a lot of Joeys. But they then play Oakley on the final day. And obviously Preston, that's fresh off the game against Melbourne City on Wednesday, and then preparing for the following Wednesday against South Melbourne. So maybe, just maybe, if Oakley wrap up the title, which you expect them to do against Dandy Thunder this week, Dandy City might have a good chance to push. I know you're going to be on the phone to Tolsey and saying, mate, you know what's on the line here. It's about $300 for this membership.
Well, more than that.
It's more.
That's for the
mate. That's for the basic. That's the base.
I was looking at your laptop and I saw you pulling up the memberships.
I was gonna say before that I'm surprised you're so in favour of fines over points deductions, given you yourself have $1,500 fine coming up next season. A suspended fine.
Ivka's going to ask for a 10-point deduction in the tipping comp for next season instead.
The tipping.
Dandy City have a better chance of making the finals than George Cross do.
That is great.
Wow.
They played Preston and Oakley in the final two rounds.
Preston B team. Oakley,
but Preston may need the points. They may be scrapping for finals.
They don't play well at Frank Holohan. Preston, they struggle at that ground.
It's the sign of the Louis Atsevsky Specky.
It is.
Ball to the half forward line. Here it comes.
Oakley C team. They win those 2 games.
What basis are you saying Preston don't play well at Frank Holohan?
Didn't they draw there last year?
They did draw there last year, but the previous time they played Dandy City at Frank Holohan, they won 4-1.
They struggle there.
Wait, that was the Marcus Demange game.
A 3-1. I don't think it was.
Was it 3-1? Okay, it was 3-1.
That was a good game.
It was
I
a great
actually
game.
did think it was a 4-1, but
And-
we really don't
and-
need to be debating.
Let's also not forget the time they beat Melbourne City to secure promotion at Frank Holohan.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's true. The
Preston's
Jimmy
mind will
Harris-
be elsewhere on
two-
Saturday. Don't
so
worry.
2 wins and a draw.
Hang on. I need to ask this question. Let me just pull up the ladder here. I just
on dribble, not on flash
dribble.
score.
But Dandy City right now
Okay.
are 3 points behind.
I
4
want
points.
to hear what Mark Ivkovic has to say based on the current ladder. Caroline Springs, Heidelberg United, Dandenong City, Melbourne City. I want you to rank them 1 to 4 in terms of most likely and least likely to make the last spot in the top 6. I want your power ranking.
Heidelberg 1 because they've got Bentley on the final day. So that's, for me, that's a guaranteed 3 points. 2, Dandy
Could be
City.
Adam Piddick's audition for the Heidelberg job next season.
2, Dandy City. 3, Melbourne City. 4, George Cross.
One day when we're all dead and buried, and the sun is 10 years before the sun has engulfed and swallowed us all. Kids who are stressed about the fate of the universe will be in history classes, and they will study these texts as the art. The masterclass of digging down, of digging yourself into a hole.
Not since the Rats of Tobruk has anyone held out for so long. In a losing position.
Ivka's going to be marching on Anzac Day next year. I've never seen a man this far in the trenches before.
No. Anyways, yes. Dandy City are 4 points outside, not 3. They're 3 points behind
If
Heidelberg.
you put them -4,
They're in.
They're in, yeah.
Yeah, on
So
goal
it's
difference.
remarkable, really. It's virtually the same as last season, except they got there on the second last round. They got into the top 6 after struggling for most of the year. Hume stuffed up. They faded away, and then the
And the
City
year
got
before
in.
that was Port and Knights who faded away at the end there.
And now it's Heidelberg that's faded, and realistically, they should be a top 6 side yet again, Dandenong City.
So if they beat, what they need, if you're a Dandy City fan, you're listening to the permutations, you're going to be back in, you want Preston to win on Wednesday, so you keep Melbourne City behind you. Then you're going to want to beat Preston, of course. You need South Melbourne, I think, at least to win.
Yeah.
And you'd be back in Hume City. I mean, I wonder if they'll put the Hume City. Oh, I think Hume City, George Cross, actually a 4 o'clock kickoff on Saturday now instead of a 2 p.m. So those games would kind of be running simultaneously. Actually, a bit of a
What they
super
change
Saturday.
that for?
I have no idea. I only picked that up today, unless I did my maths incorrect.
There was
Maybe
some
look
sort of
at the
media
23s
release that
then.
would communicate this information.
yeah, no. So the 23s are playing at 2 p.m. and then the seniors are playing at 4.
Jeez. Oh,
So it's a bit of a switcheroonie. Usually the 23s
George is
play
in
after.
luck. Hume be rattled, had to change the kickoff times. What are you doing here, mate?
It's actually closer towards Georgie's time.
It does feel like a bit of a we mustn't forget it's been raining sort of. We weren't used to the.
Maybe one of their players has got a brunch or something that they can't miss.
I mean, is it?
Hopefully it's not a bottomless
You know, we
brunch.
have like Wharfie time. Are we gonna have Georgie time? Like, is that the new thing that's coming in vogue at the moment?
Nick, you mentioned that Dandy City, they start to excel when the weather gets cold. I have a theory as to why. Is the opposition teams see Bill Theo's exposed biceps in the -5 weather at Frank Holohan and go, oh, I don't know if we're up for this.
He's got the Alistair Clarkson method of you can't wear long sleeves.
To be fair, Josh, if that theory held any water, you'd think Port Melbourne would get a few better results this season. But, anyway, let's go to Jack Edwards Reserve. Hey, the man's got an impressive set of pipes. That's not a joke. That's an earnest compliment.
Maybe that's why Knights drew.
Hey, if it was based that, anyway, I appreciate a good set of pipes when I see them. I'm not operating with those sort of facilities. Anyway, Oakley 4, the Beach Boys, Green Gully 1. Oakley getting the win that we would expect them to get, but I feel like really the big story of this game, we don't spend too much time talking about the match itself, but Alex Salmon back amongst the goals, back in the side off the bench. Ivka, that is a very nicely timed boost for the Cannons ahead of a finals campaign.
Very nicely timed goal too to ruin Josh's 3-1 tip.
Mate.
Very, very good. Knowles as well started the game and scored the opener.
I was going to mention that too.
Adam
Jeez.
Duradovic finally scoring again, which is good for him too.
Against Gully.
Yeah.
Which is the last time they scored.
Goal's a goal.
But yeah, don't need to really go in the game. Straightforward. Oakley dominated in front of about 15 people at Jack Edwards Reserve on Friday night. I don't think anyone was really there watching the game, but very handy to get Salmon. And look at that, straight in, hasn't played for a long time and gets a goal. All right, it was a pretty routine finish, but still, he knows how to get himself into the right position. So to have Knowles and Salmon back for finals, wow, that's two top tier signings virtually going straight into the team.
If a cannon fires at Jack Edwards and there was only 15 people there to see it, did it ever really fire at all? St Albans won, Bentley Greens won. Bentley, not happy with you. I was relying on you to pull through for a nice win, and to add insult to injury, you wore the butt ugly orange kit.
Because green and blue clash, yeah.
Yeah, in some,
I think that's probably a good outcome for the stream viewers, because sometimes
it's
the
very dark.
Sometimes the two dark colors, it's a dark green and a dark blue, and they actually blend. So I will back that.
Disagree.
It's an ugly away kit, but I will back the decision to wear the contrast. Because remember when you called that game in the fog? Imagine
when they played Altona. Altona were wearing white.
No. Okay, sorry, that was the. I've got my.
No, you're thinking.
What about Bentley against St Albans at?
When they played.
Were they green and blue, or was it green and white?
That was the other orange kit.
I'm pretty sure that they wore. Let me double check
at
that.
Kingston
I
Heath.
need to remember that.
That was the statement St Albans performance, but I actually think that's a good decision to.
Sorry, I mean I'm more annoyed at them about the draw, but it didn't help them too much.
I'm annoyed at the way they approached that final 10, 15 minutes of the game. Mathematically, they're not relegated. They are relegated because their goal difference is terrible. You're 10, 15 minutes away from being relegated. You're in the contest. Where's the desperation? It was like it was a round 5 game and they're preserving a lead. They did not throw the kitchen sink at the game. I was really disappointed with the way they approached that final 15 or 10 minutes. I thought they would have gone gun-ho, but it was just like routine, just going through the motions.
St Albans were white.
Okay, so there you go.
Yeah, to be fair as well, look, the first goal, Marco Bulic caught out by that one by Utah Victoria. Yeah.
What's the poster they've got in the change rooms at Churchill Reserve? If you fuck it up once, fuck it up again.
But look, hey, good goal from Nick Koek to get one back. Nice little through ball from Inouye. Look, St Albans, they're safe for another year. They got their point. But yeah, Bentley, they've got to get their skates on. They got to get a big win against Melbourne City and hope for something.
I think it's over.
I think it is too. But hey, I'm trying to sell the dream. I'm trying to sell the dream. But yeah, it's not looking likely.
I think
very disappointing the way it's just petered out from. That was the game. You need to go gun ho, all guns blazing to try and win it. They started off okay. I don't think St Albans were great in that game at all, but they survived by the skin of their teeth.
And you know what that means? Altona Magic. Another year in the top flight. They just keep surviving.
Well, we'll wait till we'll give it. They're almost there. No. They're basically there.
They are the great survivors.
They are the Wigan
Victoria.
Athletic of NPL Victoria.
I thought you were going to say, I was surprised you didn't make a North Sunshine Eagles Wigan comparison last night with the cup.
Yeah, well, if they go on and win the Australia Cup.
I like Altona. I got a soft spot for Altona. They are the great survivors of NPL Victoria. They're that guy who's got Campbell's soup stocked in the walls of Paisley Park. They've got 1 million tins of beans. Like, it'll be the sun will be 10 years away from expanding and killing us all. And Altona Magic will still be dining out on legumes.
We're going to call Altona Magic or Paisley Park the bunker now.
I love it.
Oh dear, they've got everything there. All right, let's head down to VPL1. I mean, an interesting week given everything that happened that we have already talked about, so we don't need to get back into that. The headline results, I mean, Melbourne Knights, Ivka taking another step towards that title winning. They secured promotion as well. I mean, just a quick word, and you must be pretty pleased to have the job done.
Yeah, pleased. Not over the top celebrations.
No one would ever expect that from you.
Job done. Very good to go straight back up.
Ivka was running around the studio with his shirt over his head before, but you guys didn't see that.
Yeah, you don't want to see that.
very, very good. But the hard work starts now virtually for them. They need to recruit very well, obviously, and you can see what Bentley's done this season. You don't want to do that again and become a yo-yo club. So very good that they got the job done in one go. But yeah, it's going to be a massive, massive off season.
Are the rumours true that you celebrated so hard that you actually did a Ronaldo style celebration and had to worry about the ACL for a second time?
No. I'm sure they'll celebrate hard this week. Probably a bit anticlimactic to draw against Port Melbourne away from home and with the circumstances of the way they've gotten promoted. So a win on
a win.
top spot.
Yeah. So it will. So they got Lachie on Sunday, so they have an opportunity to celebrate in front of their home fans.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. The mighty Langwarren may have a bit.
Well, Lackie's probably got more to play for, really.
Yeah.
But Lachie just need a point. Actually, a point could be enough, depending on what happens on Friday between Northcote and Brunswick.
Could be our first VPL1 Biscotto. Perhaps.
Yeah, but it all depending on what happens on Friday. Northcote Brunswick Juventus is a big say in that, because if Northcote win and the title's still on the line, I'm sure Melbourne Knights won't want to go up in second. They'll want to win the thing.
Yeah.
Well, my laptop has died, so Josh, I may need to defer to you imminently to give us the runaround of the results. But the other one that is on the top of my mind, and I do want to talk about, I mean, we'll get to Bulleen North Sunshine. I know Nick's champing at the bit.
Come on.
But, and we'll have to stitch this in later, because being all in person, we don't have the soundboard to let loose on.
I can't play my songs to roll this man up
on
here.
Riverside. I've been thinking about doing an actual karaoke here this evening. We won't.
Do you take requests?
No.
You do Walking on Sunshine?
This podcast has gone on long enough, and I don't have the range for that one. 1-1 between Brunswick Juventus and FC Melbourne Serbia, a 94th minute equaliser for Serbia at CB Smith. And from a man who set a very high bar in terms of entertainment level on commentary, one of the all-time pieces of Joe Salah commentary. Nick, we'll play it now so you can have a listen, and then we're going to react now. We're going to put an edit point in there. Nick.
That was a Melbourne Serbia from nothing there. The throw in, they've got the equaliser, Joe.
Indeed they have.
Indeed, they have. And no. You're Nick for the podcast listeners. Nick has just done the symbol of someone dropping a microphone. To me, that sounded more like someone putting a bit of menace in that throw. He was not happy. And I mean, it was already tasty enough. But that game, which I believe is this weekend between Brunswick Juventus and Northcote, is box office entertainment.
You know what's great? It's actually worked out well for them. That is the marquee fixture, because the NPL Victoria fixture is Green Gully St Albans, which they got nothing to play for. So this is the game to go to if you're looking to pick a game on Friday night to get on out to John Cain, because it is for all the bickies. But basically, you speak about that Joe Salah moment. I mean, 4 years ago, we all remember the famous.
He will be hating that you have brought this up at this time. Of the
We're
season.
not. That's as far as we'll go. Otherwise, we'll get the call from Joe. But
level 5.
But we remember what it was like when Brunswick lost out on promotion.
Long time ago, I can still remember how Werribee used to make me cry.
And they have lost the game. Yeah, so that was the famous 3-2 loss when they needed to win and Moreland City needed to lose, and they missed out on promotion. And I'm sure that the feeling that they're in right now, being in third and needing to win, they'd be sensing what is on the line and the fact that they dropped 2 points. And if they'd won, they would be tight on points, so they've been still in an okay position, but not as dire as needing to win and putting themselves back in pole position to wrap up automatic promotion.
I don't think we've mentioned it all year, but what a job Anthony Barbieri's done at Brunswick Juventus.
I mean, he's been out of the game for such a
he's
long
done a good
Oh,
job.
he's coached in State League. He was coaching at Westgate.
Sorry,
last
been
year,
out of the
but
top level of the game for
But
a
what
long
a job.
time.
Going for a double promotion, obviously carrying on the work that Mick Calandrola did the year before. But, that's not an easy situation to come into. You're taking over a team that had success.
Look at their, no offense, Nick, but look at their promotion rivals. Like, Bulleen have been in the doldrums. Northcote have been in the doldrums for 8 years now, trying to get out of this league. Like, it's easy to forget that Melbourne Knights' yo-yo season is like the exception. That's not the rule. It is a hard league to get yourself
It took
out
Bentley
of.
2 years, obviously. Obviously 2 years is, pretty decent at that.
And also-
But that's from teams who have gone down and come up to get the double,
it's
2 in a row is
and
like,
to make the round of 16 of the Australia Cup
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
It's done a remarkable job there.
I think it'll be interesting to see how that game plays out on Friday. I mean, Northcote have the less 2 days break, which I think works into Brunswick Juventus' favour. They played Saturday night, Northcote played Monday. That was a massive win for them against Melbourne Victory because as a result of all these changes, Victory were back in the mix for automatic promotion as well. And they were only 4 points behind Brunswick Juventus going into that game. 3 points actually when the weekend started. So the fact that Northcote got the job done thanks to that Giorgio Sardenis penalty puts them right in pole position. A draw won't be enough. It'll make things very, very nervous for both teams. Brunswick Juventus have Manningham at home on the final day and Northcote go away to Bulleen, which is a blockbuster, potentially what's on the line there for both of those two teams. And there's actually massive permutations in the top 6 this weekend because Bulleen as well play Melbourne Serbia on Saturday night at Kevin Bartlett Reserve, which is a big one. Eltham as well playing against Port Melbourne, and Port Melbourne need points as well in that game. And of course, Melbourne Knights against Langwarrin basically.
They can still stay up. Port Melbourne can't.
They can. Yeah, they can. So they need to get points.
Can you imagine? Like again, I don't want to reheat the soup from earlier in this podcast, but can you imagine if Port Melbourne, having lost 5-0 to North Sunshine Eagles not 3 weeks ago, managed to stay up at their expense?
Yeah, because
I think I called it after round 5 that they were relegated. Port Melbourne. That's remarkable.
Especially after all the turmoil this year and everything that's happened. But and even looking at that, I mean, Manningham is technically still alive and they play Melbourne Victory, and Victory will want to lock in a home promotion playoff as well, you know, with Bulleen breathing down their neck now as well. So this weekend in VPL1, as much as what's happening as well in the top tier, it is absolute box office because it feels like most of these games, you know, Brunswick City, North Sunshine as well, massive stakes. It's North Sunshine's last game they're playing. This is their last throw at the stumps. And Brunswick City, well, they still think they might have a chance to be able to get it. So every game has permutations this weekend.
I really, because if memory serves me correctly, Werribee were a relegated, if not relegation threatened team in 2022.
They were.
So
They had to win.
Joe Saller is going to be having a conniption if he's listening to this right now at the comparisons we are drawing between those two games.
It's a good segue to talk about last night, Bulleen, North Sunshine.
Well, can I just add that you'd mentioned Melbourne Victory there. Northcote got the win again. Giorgio Sardenis from the penalty spot, but Victory, God, they had some chances in that game.
The last kick of the game.
Yeah, Malik Olakale in the 21st minute as well with a moment he would rather have back. And Northcote nearly scoring like an own goal of a lifetime contender as well. It was a puzzling game.
It was a weird game.
But it was the B-side on Monday night. It was the B-side. The Veneto Club, 2-1 win for Bulleen.
What a game, though. Just for the
held
neutral,
its drama to the last.
For the neutral, I mean, that was one of the games of the season. I mean, North Sunshine going for it, understand the stakes. Bulleen as well, understanding the stakes. And the best part is when you got two teams that just go out and have a crack. They just go all-out attack. They were quick goal kicks. Like the one thing I love about North Sunshine, Rory Bryan gets the ball and he's off. Quickly on to the next one. And North Sunshine, the exuberance of youth in that team with those Western United players they brought in, even some of the players they brought in prior to that, they just play with so much dare, so much flair, and they are a joy to watch. And it'll be disappointing if they do go down because
it's got me fucked out there in that situation. Well, I don't get it.
It's their start to the season that's cost them.
Well, I mean, I've spoken, or we have spoken to, coach last night in Christian Kristevsky, and then I spoke to John Anastasiadis the week before when they played North Sunshine in the Cup. And I think it's right to place a lot of stock in the opinion of coaches' opinions on other teams in the league, right? And John Anastasiadis and Chris John Krzyzewski, the thing that unites the two of them are both like, I have no idea how this is a team playing the football that they play that is on track and unfortunately more than likely to go down. It's easy to
promotion playoff last year.
Well, that, and also even last night, it's easy to forget that right before Lucas Vaz scored the first of his 2 goals in a very short space of time, North Sunshine were the better team at that moment in the game.
Yeah.
They were the team that looked more likely to score a goal than Bulleen.
Yeah, and Bulleen had those chances early. I mean, Hutchinson missing
absolutely.
that big opportunity and then hitting the post in the second half. Bulleen, look, credit both teams, I thought actually played sensationally. They played really well. And even after Bulleen went 2-0 up, North Sunshine just kept on coming. Choi had the mistake that led to Marmura getting one back. And in that last passage of play, it was like, when you see a play unfolding in slow motion, you're like, it's going to happen here, the equaliser. Connor Bell has a chance. He shot, doesn't even go out. It somehow like backspins, stays in. North Sunshine are breaking. Both Bell and Vaz are trying to chase down. I think it was it Obiora Eze in possession or Al Hall? It was one of North Sunshine players kickstarting the attack. They were just going for it. Both of them ran into each other, like when Kaká scored against Manchester United in 2007 and the 2 Manchester United players collided. And you're like, oh boy, they're going to score here. But credit to Bulleen, they hung on. Those last few minutes felt like an eternity for them. And as we said, after the week that they've had, to get the win was massive. And North Sunshine riding all that momentum as well off the Heidelberg win. Look, it sets up for that game against Melbourne Serbia is going to be very interesting because I think as we see anyone that goes to Kevin Bartlett, it is such a tough place to go play because of the pitch quality, the dimensions,
how well Melbourne Serbia are coached as well.
Yeah, the Zelko
They're the
Popovic.
most adaptable team in the competition.
Absolutely.
It's hard to prepare for a team that it plays differently every week depending on the opposition, right?
Exactly.
Well, and depending on the
ground.
pitch as well.
Yeah, so
exactly.
But Bulleen have been one of the best away teams in the league this year, which makes it a really interesting game. So,
and judging by the state of Bulleen's secondary training facility, Powerful Owl Park, they'll be well
They'll be
prepared
ready
on
for it.
playing on
absolutely.
shit pitches.
What it lacks in pitch quality, it makes up for in quality of name. Powerful Owl Park.
What a name. But what a weekend coming up in VPL1. I tell you what, you're going to be glued to the screens whenever you can or getting on out to the games, especially Saturday just across the leagues. Just quickly as well to VPL2, guys, congratulations to GV Suns and
bravo.
Getting promoted this season, back in VPL1 for the first time.
And
in
no
4
one
years.
can take that promotion away from them. There's no points deduction.
Oh, yeah.
There's no murmurs in that
Nothing
league,
yet. So they got that result that they needed, 2-0 win against Werribee. So they're up. Altona City and Moreland City relegated to State League 1 as a result of all those changes.
City.
Yep.
That
so
is that
that's
triple
that's
triple
a
drop?
trifecta. Yep.
All
Altona
right.
City, who were in
Going
the
down the
promotion playoffs
Pompey
last
Highway.
year. They're both down. So now we wait and see. Malvern City are a point away from wrapping it up after a 5-2 win against Springvale. They play Kingston this week. Essendon Royals as well got the job done against Eastern Lions 3-1. Bayside 1-0 winners against Nunawading. Keilor Park drew 3-3 with Whittlesea, which is the result Whittlesea really needed to win that game because Box Hill drew 2-2 with Moreland City. And right now it's looking like that top 6 is almost all but set, depending on what happens. I mean, Whittlesea's got Moreland, Box Hill's got Nunawading this week. Keilor Park would still technically drop out with that game against Essendon Royals this week. The Royals probably more than likely into third, and Malvern City you'd think would wrap up promotion in the next couple of weeks as well.
Look at that top 6. What do 3 of those clubs have in common?
Greek.
Newly
I mean, it's true.
There are 3 Greek clubs.
It's true.
That's true.
Yeah. But yeah, three
Not wrong.
I was going to say
3 newly promoted
teams from State League 1
It's incredible.
doing like the double to potentially. So Bayside, Keilor Park, both chances in the playoffs, and Malvern City going up.
Follows on from what Eltham did the year before that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think this is doable for State League 1 clubs because there's such a bottleneck coming out of State League 1 in terms of quality. And VPL2 is not as strong. It's when you hit VPL1 that you start to go, oh, this is like...
They're kind of similar, like VPL1 and State League 1 are sort of similar leagues in their sense of their reputation as being difficult leagues to get out of. And I mean, in State League 1, you have the added problem of being stuck in conference systems as well, where, Northwest has particularly been a little bit, or generally across the years been a bit stronger than Southeast. It's harder to get out of. you earn your stripes when you get promoted
When you
out
get
of
out of
You know
those
what it
leagues,
is? It's just like the conference in England or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
So
That's the hype.
you see that there's so few teams that get promoted out of that league. If anyone's watched like the Wrexham docs or whatever, you see how hard it is. And then often clubs who finally do it actually do it twice in a row and get out of League Two into League One. And it's the same kind of bottleneck scenario. So I'm wondering whether, in the interests of upward mobility, maybe we should think about more teams getting promoted out of State League One. Because there's so many ambitious clubs at that level.
Yeah.
It's one from each
One from
side
and
and then a playoff.
Yeah.
So I think
What if we were bringing up 4? What if it was 4 up, 4 down?
It'd make it more
or just
interesting.
or,
What if we just
pro-roll
made
playoffs?
State League
Or a
1 VPL2?
Yeah.
Just flip the league.
Or
back to what it was.
maybe we go 3 up, 3 down plus a pro roll playoff, but for the team that loses the playoff in the 2 state league conferences.
Yeah. So right now, top of Northwest is Geelong, but Upfield and Laylaw and Sydenham Park all still in the mix, Ballarat as well. And then you've got in the southeast at the moment, South Springvale, top of the league, and Mornington just behind them. I mean, how long has it been since South Springvale have been up there as well? Like that goes to show how long it can take to get out of there. I mean,
And how many times has Mornington fallen just short?
Pascoe Vale or another team.
I saw Lachie's.
Maybe 1 up a piece is not so bad. No, I'm kidding. There's a lot of people at Mornington I really like. I'm putting it on.
Very, very tough league to get off. But look, this weekend, great games right across the board, and I think that's as good time as ever to jump.
Also, what a job Gary Parker's done for Kingston. Took over they were in a pretty shit situation. He's done well to keep him in the league.
A loss for the
commentary
fraternity, but a gain for the
Kingston.
boys from UFO Park.
I think it's tips time.
It is tips time, and for some reason I don't know why, but Mark Ivkovic has pre-show. Mark Ivkovic, who, by the way, let's not forget, has already locked in 1 tip tonight, which is a 5-0 loss for Caroline Springs George Cross. I am holding you to that tip because I was fed to the wolves last week. First tip of the night, I was made to go first, and then these cowards all tipped the same score and all got a correct score bonus point as they followed one another in like a rat's up a drain pipe. It was unbelievable. Josh, you are hosting the tips apparently.
Okay.
Reasons unbeknownst to me.
So
Just remember, 5-0 loss for Caroline Springs.
Yep, that's already in the books.
Thank you.
Do we tip this catch-up game that will
I
probably...
think we have to.
Yeah.
I think it does.
So this is time to make us look like idiots because by the time you're listening to this game may have already happened. So Preston versus Melbourne City is Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. Lachie, you can kick us off.
I think Preston will win 2-0, but I'll also predict that it'll be an offset. It'll be an extra 3-point deduction on the way. So it's been like an evening out.
Preston 3-0.
Yeah, Preston 3-0 for me as well.
Can you just... I need to make up some ground,
Don't
mate.
say
I'm
Preston
starting to make
3-0
it.
as well.
I was going to say Preston 3-1. We'll go to Green Gully versus St Albans Dynamo. 2 teams with
Nothing
nothing
to
much
play for.
to play for, Ivka.
Game of the year, that one. Lockie's going first.
No, I've
You
gone
started
to you.
talking, mate. Go,
I've gone
finish
to
your
you
thought.
first. The standings are too close for me to play favourites here.
I agree.
So I get to tip last.
Great idea, Angus. Well said.
Green Gully.
What does North
Albans.
City's star winger have to do with this?
Green Gully.
Grumpy Ivka.
Green Gully
Green-
3-2.
Wow.
The local derby. Nick.
Yeah, stone's throw away from each other.
Well, it depends if Yaron Souza has a shoulder injury or not.
I'm going to say...
And for people who skip to the tips, that's what you get. You get punished for not having the in-jokes from earlier in the episode.
Not as much
Yeah.
punishment as other teams.
This is
in
as
the
much.
FPL,
It's as
to be
much of
fair.
an endorsement to go back and listen to the entire thing in one speed. I'm going to say
1.2. I mean, let's not get carried away.
People got lives. I know the sun's coming
Look,
for
we've
us
been
all.
recording for
People
about
got
4
lives.
hours
Look,
now.
if you're driving from my neck of the woods now at the Big Build, you've got an extra 30-minute detour, so I'm sure you can fit it in. I'm going to say Green Gully 2, St Albans 2.
Lucky.
Was Nick complaining about the big build? Is that an early signal for Liberal pre-selection?
No, I'm just
You're
telling you
making a
about.
tilt?
No, I'm just saying it's frustrating as a Manningham resident that the Big Build is causing chaos.
What do you feel about bi-weekly rubbish collections, Nick?
I quite enjoy my weekly rubbish collection. Thank you very much.
Thank you for Debano from Doncaster for calling in to vent to your frustrations here on 3AW. What game am I predicting again?
Green Gully St Albans.
Green Gully St Albans. Well, I do predict that it's going to be the coaches won't want to see the search history of their players because the webjet traffic will be astronomical for these players looking at their end of season holidays. I'm going to say St Albans 2, Green Gully 1.
I think this has all the hallmarks of a 2-all. Melbourne City versus Bentley Greens at Casey Fields on
Bentley need to go for the jugular here.
on Saturday at 3 p.m. Lachie, it's your turn to go first.
It's a tough tip because Melbourne City do feel a bit like they're kind of content with their lot in life. Bentley, I say a 1-all draw.
Ivka.
That's a very hard game to tip, that one. Plus Melbourne City playing on Wednesday. Bentley 2-0.
Nick.
Bentley 1-0.
I think Bentley know their beat. I'm going to go Melbourne City to win this one 2-0.
Nice bit of variety there. I like that.
2-0.
Yeah.
I've got no bloody idea. We're heading to the bunker.
Oh, yes.
For the 3:15 p.m. kickoff.
Oh, yes.
Listen to the whole episode, guys. Altona versus Avondale at Paisley Park. Ivka.
I wonder how the Avondale players take the news that's come out today.
Can it be a post-manager bounce when the manager's still there? Is that possible?
Well, I reckon some of that playing group played a part in that decision. So I reckon they will be up and about. Surely Avondale beat Altona. I don't think they'll smash them. Avondale 2-0.
Lachie.
I was going to say Avondale 2-0, and I'm going to stick to Avondale 2-0.
Right up a drain pipe. Nick.
Avondale 1-0.
Oh, am I brave enough? No, not really. I think Avondale 3-0. I think Altona, job done, Q in the rack.
Well,
Joke's on them because when it all goes to shit, Avondale will be starving and Altona will be well fed. So.
Exactly. And full of fibre, apparently.
That Campbell's soup, that spam is great.
A 4 p.m. kickoff between Hume City and Caroline Springs George Cross.
Yeah, 5-0. 5-0.
No, wait. Black Magic. You ever believe in Black Magic? Caroline Springs George Cross 6. Hume City 0. Go the Georgies.
It's Georgie's side.
We've hit passive aggressive tips from Ivka. This is how deep down the rabbit hole we've gone. Lachie.
I'm not displeased with the Schadenfreude. Oh, this is actually, if you're not trying to take it seriously, it's actually a tough. It's a very tough game to predict.
It's fucking easy game to tip.
I will say Hume get it done. Do you know how angry I will be with the tips as tight as they are? If Ivka predicts a dumb prediction like 6-0 and I predict a serious prediction like 2-1 to Hume and he's the knackers who gets the points, I'll be filthy. I'll filth up.
I'm sacrificing my chance to win the tipping competition to put Black Magic on George Cross.
The Maloki on George Cross. No, Hume 2-1.
Is this going to be the curse of Ivkovic? You know how like the Socceroos had to go to like Mozambique with the witch doctor and they were being cursed?
Ivka, you're not allowed to bring a chicken into the studio next week.
George Cross going to have to go to like Gozo or something and bless the club after this. Yeah, look, Georgie's 11 draws this year. This has a draw written all over it. 1-1.
I don't think so. I think Hume City are going to win 3-2. Dandenong City versus Preston Lions is a 5 p.m. kickoff at Frank Holohan, but they don't play well there, apparently. Nick, you can go first.
And flights. I reckon Dandy City's going to give Preston a bit of a scare. I reckon this is going to be a really entertaining game of footy. 2-2.
2-2. Lachie. Repeat of last season's score.
Yeah.
I still think Preston win. I just think they're in a really good fettle. I think they. Well, I'm not going to tip. Am I going to tip them to win the quarterfinal? Maybe. I think they win.
Well,
this
we're
game.
not tipping the quarterfinals.
Yeah,
So it doesn't matter.
Good. I won't. 2-1 to Preston Lions.
Ivka.
A tough game because Preston surely 1 eye is on that Wednesday game. 1-1.
I'm going to say Preston 1-0, but it won't be pretty.
I think Dandy City's going to throw everything at this, which will make it really exciting.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Preston might just nick one on the break, like manage a game.
It won't be a
Again,
classic.
though, look, Tolsey, he's the master of these situations.
Yeah, true.
The big one-off games when his team needs something, he manages to get them up for these ones, especially when they're the underdog.
I think it'll be close anyway. Dandy Thunder versus Oakley Cannons at George Andrews Reserve. Surely this is a pretty straightforward tip.
It's all about the correct score for this one. Oh, Oakley 5-0.
5-0. Lockie.
Go with the slightly more conservative Oakley 4-0.
Nick.
You can't go for 4.5-0. It's not possible.
Oakley 3-0, just similar to what Preston did.
Dandenong City. Oh, sorry. Dandenong City's not going to play in this game. Dandenong Thunder 1, Oakley Cannons 5. Here's my tip. South Melbourne versus Heidelberg. Now, this is an interesting one. This has... it's so hard to tip this game without knowing what sort of lineup that South Melbourne name. Can they beat Heidelberg with a B team, even if they do rotate players? Lockie, it is your tip first.
Diabolical first pick. Oh, there's so many compelling arguments for going for a Heidelberg win in this. Well, there's one compelling argument for going for a Heidelberg win in this game. A few good ones for going for a draw. I just think South is still going to do it. I'm going to go for a 1-0 South Melbourne.
Nick?
This game is so hard to predict. 1-1.
Markovic.
Well, they'll know the result of George Cross winning 6-0 against Hume the day before, so the pressure is on Heidelberg to win on Sunday, and I think they'll do it. Heidelberg 2, South Melbourne 1.
This could be a huge week in the tipping comp.
Because I think we've all basically... there could be some big time swings in the league.
You fellas have left the door wide open for me. South Melbourne 3-0 winners.
There could be their big...
I think they're going to do it easy, and it doesn't matter who...
We'll be there.
Yes, we
will be there.
We will be there.
I mean, this pod
Subtly hoping for the correct score.
This pod has absolutely set the rev up to Heidelberg again. So
I'm genuinely not sure we can, if we go around another season, I hope we do, but I'm genuinely not sure we can do the tips again next year because I am on a one-way ticket to like developing a gambling addiction. the level of like the amount this consumes my mind. The amount of times I've genuinely celebrated a goal because it's going to be the correct score. I've nearly taken the shirt off when you
coming from the bloke that criticised the correct score bonus point early in the season.
But that's mate. Dandenong City
if he
and
loses
Preston were
because enough of us make up ground on the correct score, he's going to be definitely back where
Bentley
he
Greens
started.
were top of the table there. That's a different era. That's a lifetime ago.
Well, Lockie, I mean, you're the host. You can lead us out.
Oh, well, we're still in one piece after all that. We haven't beaten each other to a pulp. So we're doing okay. If you have stuck with us for the full journey, thank you. If you've just listened to the tips, no, I won't say that. Thank you.
We appreciate all
whatever
engagement.
part you tune into, you're welcome. Whether you just listened to the intro about Markovic buying his platinum membership and you're saving that for later, thank you to you as well. It's been good fun having everyone in the same place.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
it's been great. Let's do it again.
Hopefully, no pressure. Yeah, you
coming back?
You three buckle us can come up to Sydney. And I can,
Mate, why would we leave now?
it is true. The best league in the world is right here on all of our current doorsteps. Thank you. Oh, hang on. We haven't done goal of the week.
That is true.
That is
We're
true.
not doing goal of the
we
week.
could do this quite impromptu. I mean, what do we reckon? I mean, we could quickly get your votes in.
I mean, Asahi Yokokawa.
Yeah, I think Asahi
He could probably
Yokokawa.
use a consolation prize.
True. What about Jack Pope?
Oh, yeah.
Good shout.
That was my pick.
All right, quick, hands up.
Jack Pope.
Jack Pope
Georgies.
for me. Georgies.
Oh, well, if you're putting your hand up, then I'm
All right, Jack
I'm
Pope,
done.
you win the Best Grip Socks goal of the week, and we'll be sending one your way.
When the black smoke lights from the top of the chimney,
I'll drop 'em off myself.
The socks. The socks will be ready when
I
the black-
can't wait. We need to get the Maltese marching band sorted and get it all ready to go for that day.
Wait, did I do Chicken Run then?
No, that's you did Wallace and Gromit.
Oh, that's right.
For a second, you're about to do the Hogwarts march for a second there as well.
I'll be frog marching into Caroline Springs and where we're going. Okay, as you said, if you've been here the whole time, thank you. If you've been here for 1 minute, thank you. If this is your first podcast or your 31st podcast, thanks for tuning in. Thank you to our proud sponsors, Mark Ivkovic. You want to give them a little
Melville
shout out?
Bodyworks for all your smash repair needs.
Yep,
And thanks you to the proud sponsors of George Cross, Ivkovic Industries.
yeah, and let me tell you, Melville Bodyworks are going to have to repair the chassis of Mark Ivkovic at the end of the season because that thing has taken a lot of dints, a lot of beating
And,
in the panel work this season.
And also, just remember, everyone, one day the sun is going to expand.
Yeah.
And we're all going to be
We
consumed.
will all be dead very soon. But until that point, we will see you next week on another edition of the NPL Victoria podcast. Or hang on until the bitter end.